A, and
Right.
where you can't find this. And so where was I?
A little bit. It sounds
Yeah,
a little,
one, two,
little clearer.
one, two.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep,
think
yep,
so.
Yep.
It's got
yep,
more bass in it.
Yep. So you started with the Bush NA.
Yeah. Actually, it was a Heineken.
That Heineken. Yeah.
And,
Did you
or
like
not
that?
Heineken, but the O'Doul's.
Oh,
I
okay.
hated it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hated it. So I switched over, and I found like a 12-pack of this out of Kroger one day.
Right.
So I bought it, and I loved it because it tastes like
It tastes like beer.
I love
I mean,
beer.
it's-
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love the taste of beer. I just
Right.
don't like
The
the
effects
lazy
of it,
bum
I
I
think.
turn into when I drink it for
Yeah.
days on end.
Yeah. Right.
Check,
Exactly.
check. We're good. All right. I think we're live. We live?
Hey, we're live.
We're live. JJ Hale, what's up, man?
Welcome to the new house.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're in the new studio. Everything good, Tyler? Everything look good on that end?
All right, I like the new digs.
You
man.
like this?
Yeah,
It's not
very
bad.
cool.
Yeah.
What do all you think's happened in this room?
Oh man! Well, you're decorated for Halloween already,
Yeah.
so that's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that's true. I tend to think, hey, just think of all that's going to happen in this room.
Absolutely.
Hey.
You got plenty of room to grow. You know, and
yeah.
I'm going to fire up this cigar.
Oh yeah, we might as well celebrate and break in the new studio correctly.
Let's do it. Where's,
I don't know how many laws we're breaking here. Let me get yours going first.
here, I got it. I know what to do.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, then I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna.
All right, you go
all right,
ahead.
Let's talk about what you're smoking there, man. What you got?
This is a brick house.
You got a little brick house Maduro there.
Yeah, J.C. Newman Cigar
Yeah.
Company.
Hey, man. To me, best everyday cigar in the league, right there.
Right there,
I mean,
okay.
it's not real expensive, but real good.
You brought it for me, so I'm looking forward to it. Are you a cigar guy?
You know, I used to. I loved it when I played golf.
Golf course. Yeah, a lot of
Exactly,
people
and
like-
I just kind of got away from it. But no, man, I love a good stogie, and my neighbor, he's absolutely all about it.
Yeah.
And some of these places that I've been fortunate enough to go with the companies we represent, they actually have guys that'll roll them for you.
Oh.
And, yeah.
nice.
So I actually, I'll get a bag and like put me about 5 or 6 of these
Yeah.
different ones,
Nice.
and so I'll bring them home, throw them in the fridge, and take them over to Dan, my
The
neighbor.
fridge.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm not. That tells you how long it's been. I don't
Yeah.
have one of those fancy.
What? Yeah, Chad's
You
got
don't
a
have
humidor.
a humidor. Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I got a Gurkha Governor here. I haven't had one of this. It's a private blend from Gurkha, which is a popular brand.
What'd you
Not
give
too
me?
bad. You got a Romeo and Juliet Churchill Reserve. That's going to be really good.
Okay, yeah, nice and smooth, right?
Yeah, it should be. Well, I think it should be.
Cool, very cool. You got the flamethrower out there, man.
I think I broke his thing here. No, I didn't.
You can't break that. Those are made for crackheads.
All right,
I mean,
We're there.
it confuses that torch. It's like, I thought I was supposed to be burning on the bottom of a
Shimmy.
spoon.
Oh, all right, now
You
we're
know?
good.
We brought it up in the world.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, how's that going to go with your coffee, you think?
Ooh, I like that. Hey, we're on the coffee tonight. I don't want to hear anything from
Hey,
anybody.
you're not getting anything. Hey, listen, I respect it. The man is going sober October.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm drinking for both of us tonight. I'm having a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, just chilling out. I'm not gonna have very many tonight, but
Yeah,
That's what we
yeah.
got.
You know, I'm not really doing sober October.
okay.
I guess I am. It's
Are
a
you
nice,
doing more of a no beer October?
I'm doing more of a no alcohol and just I'm not like anti having a beer. I had one Saturday night, but I'm just trying not,
Just
especially
not
through the
big,
week.
Not
Yeah.
big nights.
We're not. We're not gonna throw one in there just because.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now you're on something different here.
Yeah.
Tell
Well,
us about it.
it's been. I'm getting close to 2 sober Octobers.
2 years. Yeah.
I actually haven't had a beer since May the 4th of, I want to say, 2000. So it's been
Wow,
over a year
man.
since I've actually
Wow.
had a beer. And then just here recently, I mean, I love beer. I love the
Yeah.
taste of beer.
Right.
So here recently, I've really, really been craving one. And so had played golf with a good friend over in Chillicothe, Ohio, Chillicothe Country Club. Got done, and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
And so hit the drive-through. They didn't have any Bush NA, so I grabbed some O'Doul's. Just wasn't a fan. Didn't like it. So I found this Bud Zero, the new Bud Zero they got out. And
I haven't had it.
I'm telling you, it tastes like beer. I mean, it really, really, really good. And so really hard to find right now, but man, I love it. I mean, it's like I said, when I can't find it, Bush NA is my go-to. But I've got a few cans of both with me, so I
Ooh,
don't.
very
I've
nice. I
seen
might have to indulge. I've never had an
No,
NA beer.
help yourself.
I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people, particularly the Heineken NA. I've seen a lot of that, man. I mean, and they're marketing the heck out of that too. I mean,
Well,
they're
that's one of
showing
the
guys
hottest
driving
trends.
cars, drinking it and stuff, man, which I think is a great way to market it. I mean.
No,
You know,
and
I mean, I think the problem before, like, I've had like O'Doul's and Sharps and that, but man, the taste of that, it didn't taste like beer,
right.
You know,
and
it
that's
just
why I
wasn't.
didn't like the O'Doul's.
Now, have you
yeah.
had them since this craft beer craze came on? I mean, now that you're actually, because used to you just knew either Bud Light. Well, it didn't taste like a Bud Light, you know. I mean, but I mean, have you now that you're tasting beers a little bit different?
I have not had an O'Doul's in years, but I just like the first. I'm kind of like JJ. When I tried it, like it was one of those where you taste it and it's like, damn, I think I'd rather have a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It just didn't give me the beer flavor, you know.
Right. Well, and I was, you know, and I was, and you know, I was kind of what started it all. Is I got, you know, man, I was like, you know, I love beer. When I wasn't working, I was drinking beer.
Yeah.
And so I was up to like 253 pounds. And
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and if you would saw some pictures of me in high school, I probably didn't weigh 115 weight in high school.
Yeah.
So I knew, I mean, it was time. I got to get in shape. I got a 14-year-old son. I love dearly, and I wanted to see him grow up.
I've been
And-
watching that on Facebook. That's
Yeah,
great to
I
see,
still
man.
do
I've
that.
enjoyed that, buddy.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed that.
I'm proud of him, man. He's working hard, and
Well, you should be.
And so,
Well, you kind of stepped in there and started doing it with him. I mean, I don't
exactly.
know the situation. I don't know. I haven't been around you guys in
Right.
a while, but it's kind of seemed like from Facebook you were like, hey, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it too.
Yeah,
and that's cool, man.
Yeah, well, what it was, and you know, you've trained there a little bit, a local performance facility near here. You know, AP Prep, and you've talked about having Jason on with you, and I hope he does come on.
Oh,
sometime,
he's
'cause-
big time. You get automatic messages, whatever.
I
mean,
know.
I told him the other day. I said, "What do you think, you're Eddie Hughes?" I was like, "What do you sending me automatic messages?"
Yeah, we're
for?"
gonna have to get his secretary's number.
Yeah,
or his
right on,
assistant's
man.
or
So he
whatever.
texted me back the other day.
Yeah.
I just scrolled up his text and I copied his instant
Sent it back.
and sent it back to him.
There you go.
So has he responded yet?
He was. I asked him about tonight.
Right.
Okay, earlier in the
Right.
week, and he said he goes, man, he was out of town for a wedding or something.
I got you.
So-
Well, I knew. I was like, man, I got to be on the list, man.
Yeah.
I got to be on
Oh,
the
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Oh, you've been on the list for quite a while.
We're just getting going. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see we just set it up tonight,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You're the first one in the
in
new
the
place.
new dig. So,
Yeah.
So you got in there with your son, and
Yeah. Well,
you look better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so much better. I'm down to about 214 now. But, you know, I went over there and they do boxing conditioning. And I'm telling you, man, you want a cardio workout.
I did it. I know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an hour, but it's an intense hour.
Push-ups,
sit-ups, and then you're on. You know, if you're
Bag.
partnered up with someone, you know, while you're doing the push-ups and sit-ups,
yeah.
you're on the bag or
Yeah.
on the fighting giants or.
Does Thornsberry still go to that?
You know what? He and I were doing it together.
He was
for a
my
while.
partner whenever
Yeah,
I
and,
went.
but he
He's a
loves
savage.
That's it, man. He wants to see you puke, is what it is.
yeah.
So it was a Thornsberry and Hoops and you know, a lot of those guys, and
I don't know
so
Hoops.
I was pretty committed to it for, you know, several months, and then, you know, one thing leads to another. You know, football season rolls around, you're chasing your kids, and so I've sort of got away from it, but been lifting locally when I can, and if he's watching, he's going to kill me. You know, Marty Jacobs.
Oh, yeah.
And
Martin's
so,
good.
you know, we
Good
do a
dude.
5 a.m. workout occasionally, which I haven't done in about a month, so he's probably wondering.
What a
I've been-
change you're going through, man.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know if it's my version of a midlife crisis. I
Yeah.
just turned
Hey, well,
50.
that's a good one,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not, you know, we're not casting stones. Like, my God, we're Chubby Bartenders. But I mean, you
No,
know,
no.
you were with us. I mean, you
Oh,
know,
right
we,
on,
I
man.
mean, it was, you know, we went hard and
Yeah.
and you know, so you've really changed it. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're working, I'm not working out at 5 a.m. I
Yeah.
have no intent on it right
You
now.
know, but I love it. I don't regret it. I feel great, and you know, it's like we were talking, you know, right before we came on the air. You know, like I said, I've always loved beer. I like drinking beer, but I don't like waking up the next morning feeling like a pile of crap and not
Yeah,
being
yeah.
mentally focused for 2 or 3 days.
Well, you
and-
can lose a day, you know, or
and,
2
and,
days,
you know,
or-
and it just, you know, like at this stage of my life, you know, just I'm busy, I don't have time, got goals,
Need
and,
to
you
feel
know,
good.
Yeah, right on, and I do, and so having a ball, man.
Yeah,
I really
good
am.
deal.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thanks. Hey, you look
man.
good too.
Thanks,
you
man.
lost some weight.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
won't reveal how much
Yeah, I know.
because in case this airs an old
Well,
Fat
I think
Massey
it's funny
season.
at Massey. He's probably looking at this going, "My God, the man has shedded the sweatshirt."
Well, Well,
I mean, I mean, I took it. I did double take when you walked up the steps tonight. I was like, jeez.
You know what I have been doing?
I
was running. I've been running about 3.5 miles a day. Well, I got hurt last week, and I hurt I had pulled a muscle or something. I've worked it out since.
Yeah.
But so the last 10 days or so, I've been walking. But I walk 5-6 miles a night.
Yeah.
And, honestly, I'm burning. Now, I don't run very fast, but I was burning 2 or 3 times as many calories by walking than I was running.
Yeah.
So
well, you can't probably run that far. I mean,
you can't run that long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was taking me an hour and a half, or it takes me about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half.
You know what surprises me, like, what little bit of lifting I have done is how many calories you actually burn lifting as compared to the cardio.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more. It kind of surprises me. So tell me, like, when you're doing the boxing conditioning, how many calories are you blowing in an hour there? Any idea?
I'd say you'd have to be at 2,000.
So, I don't know.
That's one of the hardest, most intense. I wouldn't say hardest because it's fun,
right?
But that's intense.
Yeah, well, like a lot of and Jason, I got a heart rate monitor, and I wear it, and it keeps track, obviously, your heart rate, the calories you're burning, and so on and so forth. So, I got one of those, and most of the people, Thornsberry and those guys, were working out with that had them. Some of those guys, they're in shape. They're blowing 500-600, and Jason, it kind of got to be a contest. He'd always laugh because I was averaging 1,000 to 1,100 an hour. And so, like on Saturday mornings,
that's
when
about right. He'd take me an hour and a half, same calorie.
Yeah, so he would be doing it with us, and we would all be watching that. I'm going to get you this time.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot they had that.
They have them.
Yeah, they have them up there.
Yeah.
Man, what a facility, dude! Congrats, Jason Prater.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I don't think I've been fortunate enough to take my son to some camps, some linebacker camps in North Carolina and other places, and you look around and there's some facilities out there, but none like that. That those guys, man, that's serious business, man, and their kids or your kids are.
You're not there to shoot the breeze.
No, you're there to work
when
and
that
get
bell
better.
goes.
Exactly,
you're working.
It's earn the day, and they mean it when they say that, and like I said, it's top notch, and I think that's locally why our some of our athletes really stand out. And we're
there's no question. There's no question about it, man.
We're seeing more and more D1 athletes.
Oh my,
yeah. And so no, they do an awesome job, man.
I want to see one of these guys. I'm gonna give Prater hell about this too. I want to see one of these guys really focus in on the big guys. I want to see some beef. I want to see some beef up front.
Yeah.
I want to see some just big corn-fed mules pushing people around. I mean, we've got some big kids, but I mean. In the last 20 years, there really hasn't been a big, 250, 260, 275, 300-pound presence.
You kind of got to ride the gene pool, man. You never know.
Right
now, fortunately, I mean, we've got these big dudes that are just skilled as hell. I mean,
my God, yeah.
They're fast. And,
I think that's just kids in general anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I really think speed kills, too.
Oh, there ain't any question.
And I'll give you a good example. I went to our local team went up for the JV game Saturday, and the team that they had in, this kid, I mean, when you look at him, because these schools, and we can get into that if you want, if you don't have the measurables, it don't matter how damn good you are, they ain't looking at you.
That's exactly right.
We can get into it. But this kid, I'm not kidding, he must have been 6'5", 6'6", pushing 300, and he's not a fat 300. I mean, he's a man.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, holy hell, they're going to let him play.
Yeah.
And honestly, the kids that was playing for our team was a defensive tackle bouncing back between tackle and nose guard, and he just had good technique. And that kid was just a statue, man. I mean, he's just eating up space. And I'm like, and late in the game, he's standing over on the sideline watching. And I had my son there. We were watching. I said, take a look at that. So what's that tell you?
Yeah.
I said, technique and speed, it doesn't matter how big you are, because guess what? The game, we're down the last few minutes of the game. He's over there watching.
Yeah.
I mean, with that kind of size, you would think that guy's your go-to guy. So
well, in a college, you'll take a kid like that and just, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, you roll in there 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
You pretty well go somewhere.
Yeah.
And they'll take that.
They're going to take a chance.
And
they're going to say, well, we can. They're going to be, hey, listen, they're arrogant about it. They're like, man, we can coach anything but a 6'9" frame. We can't coach. We can't coach that into them.
Yeah.
I mean, if they've got that,
we can change everything other than that.
Yeah, we can put the weight on you.
Yeah,
we can do
take it off.
And that was one of the cool things. And I mean, Linebacker U is the name of the camp, and those Coach Monroe, Coach Dalton, they're down in North Carolina. They do an awesome job, and they've got a great facility. And I think Coach Monroe's son, he's a linebacker at Wake Forest this season, and then Coach Dalton, he actually played some in the NFL. So I mean, you're getting the best of the best. But one thing that I like that they do is, and it's pretty intense. So you get there, and I'll try to be as brief as I can, but you get there like on a Friday, you check in, then you go train from like 5 until like 9, and then they'll tell you, go get your kid a sandwich and a Gatorade. They go into the film room from 9 to about 11:30 or 12. Next morning, you're up at 7, get your breakfast, you're back in the training facility till around 11:30. Break for quick lunch in the film room to 2:30, 3 o'clock. Back into the training facility till 7, and then they go break down film until 9:30. Now you're in Saturday night, and then all the parents come in. We want to talk to you about the recruiting process, and but it's so interesting because these guys are real, man. I mean, they don't cut any corners, and I'm lucky, I guess. Don't get me wrong. I want my kid to be the best that he can be and go as far as he can be, but I'm not delusional about it either. So you're sitting in this room, and when they start, you can just see the bubbles start bursting around the room.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and that's one of the first things they say is like, look, if you don't have the measurables, it doesn't matter how damn good you are. Chances are you're not going to be recruited. Now, with that said, shoot for the stars and try to land on the moon, but there's some place for someone that wants to play.
Sure.
There's enough schools, but I mean, it's just really, really cool to kind of go through that as they walk you through the recruiting process and what's involved. And man, it's intense.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and my thing is like at this point in my life, in his life, I don't really have to worry about it. But and my thing when it just came my turn to talk is like, look, do you want him to go as far as you can? Absolutely. But what's more important to me is I'm more concerned about what kind of man he's going to be and how he treats others when he gets to be my age.
Right, exactly.
And so if you do that, then you're successful. So
Well, we've been going through it. I told you the last couple weeks with my son's not being bad,
right.
But I tell you what I've really picked up on is at the beginning of COVID. All parents, I think, at least the ones I was talking to, they were saying, they would tell you things, or we would all talk, and they would say, man, they've been on the iPad or they've been playing video games, but hey, it's COVID, and they're not getting to see their friends, so. We're going to say it's okay. I was one of those people. I was like, hey, he's not getting to see his friends.
Yeah, you want the social interaction.
I want the social interaction. And I think, the last, there again, I'm not saying that we've had any troubles with the boy. Yeah. However, I've just noticed a little bit of change in his I don't say grittiness, but like, it's like he didn't want to get outside as much, and he didn't, they were just, they was coming home and they was glued to that iPad. I'd come through the door at work, and maybe this is my fault. I'd be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Nothing, Dad. And he wouldn't even raise his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, am I failing as a parent? Am I failing as a dad? So I tell you, man, I really had to weed out doing a lot of things because I realized right now it was time to get back and get involved with my child because I'm worried about him. You got 18 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And after that, they're off to the
world,
you start
calculating. We were having a conversation the other day. I'm sitting here like, hey, 10 years from now, man, my house is empty.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
feels like you just started.
I know.
How old's Moose?
He's 14.
14.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
man.
It's hard to believe.
I feel like he was 6. Like yesterday.
14. He actually lost a little. He was pushing 225, and he's like,
man, he's a good sized boy.
Yeah, he's down to about 210 or 211 the other day.
What a support group he's got with Uncle Tate.
Yeah,
my boy Tate, man.
Tater, man. I tell you, he cuts no slack. You think he gets it hard at AP? No, he gets it even harder.
I guarantee it, he does, man. Tate's my buddy. Tate and I, we met in Athens years ago. Didn't even know that he was JJ's brother.
Yeah,
and we just started hanging out at a party one time. Really, he was a great big guy, big stocky built.
Yeah, I got screwed on the size of my family.
And so I was like, well, if something breaks out, this dude, I want want him on my side.
I'll hang close to him.
Hey, man, you need a beer? And so me and Tate got to be big buddies, man, and then come to find out he's JJ's brother. Yeah. He comes to me one day and goes, hey, man, you know Ron Gillum? I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
He's
right
my cousin.
on.
He goes, well, I'm JJ's brother. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
That's been 20-some years ago.
Yeah.
That's right at 20.
Yeah, he'd be a good guest for you guys.
Yeah,
He got a
yeah,
hell of
yeah.
a story, man.
He does.
He
does.
he's,
I'd love to get Tate on the show.
Yeah, he would be a
Have
good
you?
one.
You may have met Tate. I bet you have.
Maybe in passing.
In passing.
I've never had, not to where he would remember me.
Yeah.
Maybe would say, hey, that's a familiar
He's
face.
one of us.
Yeah.
He's one of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's one of us. Yeah,
Absolutely, but he doesn't cut corners, and I think it was interesting when he started first working Moose out. It was the first 2 or 3 pretty intense, man, because Moose was into it, something new, and then that third one, you're running the hill and you're doing the bear crawls and you're on the weights and you're working on your technique.
And that's your uncle.
Yeah, and that's your uncle, and so about 3/4 of the way through, he just like stop. Do you want to be here?
Yeah.
And it gets real quiet, and all of a sudden, because Moose has never got it from his uncle.
Yeah.
Say, well, yes, sir. Then by God, you better act like it, because don't waste my bleeping time. And so they had a heart-to-heart. So like the next time they worked, I was like, bring him up a half hour early. We're going to go for a walk. And they got some things straight, because like, if you don't want it, don't waste my time. And so he's got a great support group.
That's
Very
great,
lucky,
man.
Very lucky.
It's odd. That's about the same talk I had to have with my kid. Do you want to be here?
Yeah.
And man, I never got that whenever I was a kid, and coaches used to tell us, "Don't you waste my time." Remember that? I mean, that was a go-to line, and I can't really say whenever I was 8, 9, 10 years old that I understood that. Now I understand it,
Right.
But so I'm trying to relay that message without using that verbiage to my 7-year-old. Now, Moose is 14. He probably understands that. Don't waste my time, or do you not want to be here?
Well, he does, but and maybe you guys are probably going to run into it sooner rather than later as they grow. I think you'll find that they don't want it from Dad. They want it from Uncle Tate. They want it from Ben or Gabe or Jason at AP.
Yep.
You know nothing.
Yeah.
So he's got a point.
That's
I
a hard
very
pill
good
to swallow
athlete
too.
Anyway.
That's a hard one to take. But
I've accepted my role as far as
me
that
too.
goes. What I've found, even already as young as he is I started off coaching all of his teams and doing that. And
start off coaching us.
Hell, I had been coaching
20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I coached varsity stuff, and I realized, you know what, man, I'm not relating to him as far as this goes.
Yeah.
I'm too damn hard on him, and I'm going to wind up making this a situation that's no fun for him.
Yeah.
And and what I've found is he responds a heck of a lot better to the guys that are coaching him now. He respects them, and he hustles, and he plays hard, and he seems to love every minute of it. So that's really all I ask. I don't really care whether he's worth a damn or not now.
I mean,
as long as he's getting something out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, having fun and learning, and obviously trying to
Because I feel like at the age he is now, he's 8. I mean, this is about learn to enjoy the sport.
Yep.
Yeah. Learn how the sport works. See if it's going to be for you or not.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll play as many as we can.
My philosophy is if they want to play it, let's go play it.
Right.
How I've noticed though, maybe you can give. I don't know where you're at with Abe, but maybe you can shed some light on this, because I feel like this is a stage that I'm in right now, maybe where it's not that my son. I mean, granted, he struggles on a lot of things. Now, schoolwork, he's an angel. I mean, schoolwork, he's a genius. He's a bright kid. Yeah. Athletically, he's not coming like I'm not. I mean, he's having fun, and that's all I care about.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, he hasn't bought in it enough to care about what he does with it. Like I'm saying, like whenever he throws the ball, if somebody says Gibson, he might look and throw, and I mean he's not real worried about it.
I think, and JJ, you're 4 or 5 years ahead of us on this, man. But I think that a lot of that comes with age. I mean, I've noticed with Abram, even from last year to this year.
He's 9, right?
He's 8.
He's 8.
Yeah, but like from when he was 7 to now when he's 8.
Yeah.
I mean, his level of enthusiasm for the game,
comprehension of
his comprehension of the game, his excitement for playing the game, has gotten that much better, and his coordination has gotten a year better. I mean, And it's not like we've been working with him a whole lot, man. Just throwing the ball, hitting a little bit,
And I had to put some of that on me. My kid he wasn't the best thrower. He didn't really know how to bat, and I had to realize, like, well, Dad, have you got out there and really worked? You showed him in the living room a time or two, but
right.
are you getting out there every night, 3 nights a week, and playing with him?
I think there's a fine line with that, and I could be wrong. What I don't want to do to him at a young age is make him hate a sport because Dad is out there, now damn it, get your swing this way or do this, you're not stepping when you throw, and it's like, hey, I got to watch it.
Isn't it like,
I'm bad about that.
It's like stepping on with that fragile or that blow up paper or the bubble wrap. It's like stepping on bubble wrap. Okay, is this a time wherever I borderline cuss and really get on him, or do I just joke and act like, which one do you do?
At least you've got that dial. See, if I'm out there doing it, and we're in the middle of it, and he starts, I think he's goofing off or not paying attention or not doing it right, not trying, then I just am like, well, then what are we doing here?
Don't waste my time.
I didn't come out here to play Ring Around the Rosie.
And that's where it is. Whenever you take them out there to work on something, make it fun. But if they're just throwing their hat up in the air and falling down, then it's like, hey,
hey man, this ain't recess.
Let's go watch SpongeBob.
I told my neighbors the other day. I sent both my neighbors a text message, and I said, hey, gentlemen, I said, please don't think I'm a bad parent if you hear me out there in the yard with Gibson. I said, but we're going through some after COVID iPad issues. So I said, I said, give me a week or so. I said, I'll work this out.
Hey, we're breaking a horse out here.
I got him breaking his pony, JJ.
I saw that. That's cool.
I'm breaking this horse.
I told him, I said he got to ride his pony and it bucked him again. And I said, I'm ready to kill this pony, honestly. Like, I'm over the pony.
I'm surprised Papaw hadn't yet.
Oh, I know. Well, So Papaw told me not to buy the pony anyway, but I was the one who had to buy the pony. So I told him, I said, hey, you're either going to break this pony or we're going to sell it. And I said, you got 30 days to do it. Because for some reason, I don't know if it's a grade, he's ate up with numbers right now.
Oh, okay.
Daddy, what year was you born? Well, how many days is that? How many days, how many months have you been alive? He's just everything's number. And so I said, you got 30 days. And I said, in 30 days, I'm going to cut you loose. And I said, we're going to see what you got. And I work with him. I show him the method every night.
Right.
And we're on, I think, day 8. Now, we've missed, like tonight, we had baseball. Man, time change. You can't get it in.
What I would say, like you said, you're 5 or 6 years behind, and I got some really good advice, and I'll go there in just a second, but don't worry about it.
That's great advice.
Honestly, because let them have fun, and because right now, you can see it at every 4th grade game all the way through high school, parents ruin the sport for their kids.
That's the guy I don't want to be.
I don't want to be that guy either.
And I got to be careful. I got to walk a fine line. I want to push you because I want you to know I expect your best. But at the same time, I don't want to make you miserable pushing you. And we had this talk probably 3 or 4 months ago. I'm like, dude, if you come to me tonight and say, I never want to play again, I'm cool.
Right.
If you want to play the trombone in the band, be the best damn trombone player in the band. I don't care. But just give it your best, whatever you're doing. But he didn't start football.
Yeah, he was late.
6th grade.
Yeah.
He went out and again, this might speak to what we're talking about. He started in 2nd grade. And he went out, football's king.
I remember that, too.
Yeah, and he just got his ass kicked.
Maybe he wasn't mentally, phically ready for it.
He wasn't.
That time.
He was tiny. He just wasn't ready. And so in the spring
of his
the spring of his 6th grade year, he just comes to me out of nowhere, and I was shocked. He's like, Dad, I think I want to give football another try. Well, you're thinking, I'm a basketball guy. I coach basketball. And so I'm thinking, man, I don't want to talk you out of this, but at the same time, you hear all the horror stories about concussions and injuries, and this is all right in the height of it. And I'm like, well, deal is, bud. Same rule. If you start, you're going to finish. And I think every parent probably has that. I'm not the first genius to say that. So
write that down.
So in the meantime, I was helping with the local basketball team, and we were playing down at the University of Rio Grande in a holiday tournament. And I don't know, you guys know Mike Bartram?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike's a great guy. Grew up playing every sport known to man against the guy. And,
he's a man too.
He is a man.
He's a man.
And right now he's one of the
Eagles.
assistant coach with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
And
how many guys have gone from the sideline at Meg's as the head football coach at Meg's to the NFL
and a national championship at Marshall? And so, but Mike's a great guy, been a good friend. You won't find a better man.
Super guy.
And
met him one day at Stalker.
And so he come up and sat down beside me, and we're just catching up, and I'm talking to him about Moose, and I'm like, man, I said, he's just doesn't play basketball, or he's playing basketball. He's just not real good. And I said, he's going out for football this year, and I'm just, I'm scared to death. And I said, but I can't remember the exact, and that was his exact words to me is, don't worry about it. He said, honestly, most kids aren't going to hit their stride until probably it might be their freshman or sophomore year before they go. And I'm like, okay. So I took that advice. So he goes out and, football, he makes it through. At that level, they didn't really have two-a-days, but believe me, they're working hard.
Sure.
And so they get to the preview game. Like I said, his sixth grade year, he hadn't played a snap since his second grade year. And so, they'd have this preview game, and about the second snap, he got to the quarterback. And all of a sudden, it's red.
Taste of blood.
Yeah, red meat. And the rest is history, and he's done pretty well.
Yeah, that's great.
By far, he's not the best, but he's learning, he's having fun, and he's getting better.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I commend you right there for the way you handled it, and I hope that I'll be able to do that as well, is like, you know what? You realize that, like, okay, man, he's not ready. I'm not mad at him, whatever, when he was a second grader. I mean, hey, none of this really matters.
No,
then
really
he wants
does
to play.
not at all.
Then you get. I mean, my dad. How many years did he coach football?
Oh yeah.
I mean, a long time. 40-some years.
Yeah.
Till he retired. Now this is going to sound disparaging to the Pee Wee program, and I'm not meaning to do that.
Yeah.
I respect the Pee Wee program. Shout out sideliners. Everything. I'm not doing that.
Man.
But he always made the comment. He goes, man, I'll tell you what the big difference was when Jackson got that started again here. He goes, I think the major impact of that is that we no longer had to teach them how to put their pads on in the 7th grade. They already knew how to do it before they got there.
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, but we've had some of our best players had never even seen the field down there. He's like, look, hey, if a dog's going to bite, he'll bite as a pup.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some of them that are going to be excellent football players. But there's going to be some kids that roll out there, like my son, that's going to be a tackle.
Yeah.
From and dude, when you're in the 3rd grade, second or third grade, that ain't fun, man.
No.
I mean,
take it from a 3rd grade tackle.
Well, I mean, you're down there practicing in full gear 4 nights a week for 2 hours, running 20-40s.
You're not scoring any touchdowns.
Yeah, you're not getting no glory.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell is this sport? And so my problem, or I don't have a problem, but my worry or my concern is the last thing I want to do is take a sport that I dearly love and have him so turned off on it.
Yeah. Right on, man.
But before it ever counts.
Sure.
Right.
Like, look, hey, man, you win a Pee Wee Super Bowl. Congratulations. That's great.
That's great.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
having a good experience matters. It's good to learn how to win and be excellent at things.
Now, the other side of that coin, okay, now we were the first Pee Wee Super Bowl win.
Right.
My 5th grade year with Shane and all those.
Yeah.
Shane and Doug.
Shane, Doug, Eric.
Yeah, Eric was on red. Andy Winder, Tommy Curtis, we was all on the white. And,
I give Shane grief all the time about that. By the way, I said, look, I said I could have scored that many touchdowns and had that many yards running behind that line. You guys gave.
Shane's pretty fast,
he is. They
awesome. Both made each other look.
They did really good. That was a great combination.
Yeah.
But I will say those. I'm not saying that they're as great of memories as the more or upper levels, or the high school levels, but I mean, there's still a special spot.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I guess my point
if you're looking at it from memory, or are you looking at it for what's the end game?
I'm looking at it from a parental perspective only.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting anything they're doing in that program. I think they do a great job.
Oh my God!
I'm just saying, as a parent, it's not going to matter as much to me whether they win the Super Bowl or not. As much as I want my kid to have a positive football experience. Now, if you win a Super Bowl, odds are
that's pretty positive.
Pretty positive football.
And then here's the other flip side. What if he goes till 7th, 8th grade, or even your boy, and he says, you know what, Dad, I had a great time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say Moose comes in tomorrow, says, hey, Dad, I had a great time. Seasons, we got playoff game left. Let's see what happens. And but next year I think I've decided I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
And so there again, if they spent time in Pee Wee, they get in it and they say, you know what, it's not for me, or hey, it was a positive experience. I'm out this year.
Well,
I'm play.
It's just
there's something else too.
It's kind of like the parenting game all over again, right? Like there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. You can analyze it and over. I know what's going to happen next year. He's going to go to school. They're going to have Pee Wee football. He's going to come home and he's going to want to play, and I'm going to let him.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, and that's
about as deep as it goes.
And that's how it's going to work. And I mean, hell, we'll support him. You know.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm going to try. To be Mr. Positive guy at home.
Isn't it crazy the game of chess you got to play with yourself on? Being a dad. Jesus God.
And I would never do it. But there's times you want to go. It's like, man, you suck tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's other times like, damn, are you my kid?
My grandfather Reynolds was historic on his approach to raising his sons. Like they would literally get home, try to walk up the stairs on a Friday night, win, lose, whatever. And they said they'd generally get to about the third step and he'd be like, hey, where are you going? And they're like, oh, just, going up to bed. And he'd be like, well, that was about a piece of shit effort. And he's like, I'm about sick of you embarrassing me down there. Why don't we just go right now and quit? Let's just quit. Now, listen, these guys, you're talking about high school All-American players here, man. These guys were good.
Yeah.
And but like so he tried to never be like that with me.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I guess my 3 rules, and I think being on the bench in high school basketball with some good coaches is my 3 rules, and I even mentioned it to a local football coach this year. Is coaches coach, players play, and parents just be parents. Stay the hell out of it. Because there's nothing worse that can give a locker room cancer more than dad or mom's like, coach don't know what the hell he's doing. Yeah. Or why is little Johnny playing ahead of you? Or you know what? Stay out of it. Yeah. And if your kid comes home and complains, go talk to the coach. You know what I mean? What kind of life lesson are you teaching your kids if you go to the coach and bitch and moan and whine, for your kid? Guess what? Life's not fair.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I was lucky to be exposed to coaching. And you have been as well, like that. And I know how your dad was. You've got a great story on that. But the thing is, I think that like I know as a parent that as mad as I may get sometimes, I'm never going to allow my kid a luxury of the excuse that the coach is out to get me. Hey, look, man, the coach is what it is. I mean, that's the team. If you don't want to be on it, then that's a decision to make. But don't expect me to go in there and try to burn the place down. No. I mean, I'm not doing that.
No, and you know what? And you may be right. The coach might be a piece of shit.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he could be, but I'm not going to tell you that and roll in that coach's locker.
Well, you're not. I don't think. Yeah, and I don't think you're doing your son a favor or your daughter or whoever by saying, "Yeah, he is." And you allow them that excuse. It's like, hey, dude, let me tell you something. You're going to grow up in a life where you're going to have a boss.
Yeah,
that's a pain in the ass.
You don't want to. That's where I was going with that.
You're going to have,
and you either got to change careers.
Yeah.
Or you got to win over your boss.
Yeah.
There's 2 choices.
You can do something about
it. That's it. You either got to leave.
Well, it's like
that's
what you say. Like all right, what are your options here? If you don't want to play football,
there's the door.
Because right there's the coach. Yeah. I mean, like he's the coach. Unless they fire him, that's probably going to be your coach.
Did I ever tell you the Gary Gillum story? What I went to quit.
No, but I would love to hear this because I know your dad.
So
this is absolutely
him
classic.
and my dad, or his dad and my dad graduated together. They were the MVPs together. Yeah. Okay,
right.
Go MVPs, 1965. So they knew each other. Okay, graduated together. They knew each other. So I get madder than hell one time, and I played like a goof, and it was down at a scrimmage at the preview down in Minford. And he said something to me. Chad's dad said something to me, and I just had a bad day, and I was over it. And I was already mad, and then that just put me over the top.
I don't need this.
I was like, this is over. I'm good.
There's no man that's ever played a sport that hadn't had that day.
Yeah. I was like, I'm done. I'm you know.
Yeah, I'm finished.
And so at the time, it was my weekend with Dad, so he comes and gets me after the game. And I get in the car, and this is, we'd already come back from away game, so I already had a bus trip, so we're 10:30, 11 o'clock at night at this point. Getting in his car, and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "What's the matter with you?" "I'm quitting." "Oh, you're quitting?" I said, "Yep."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "I'm done." I said, "I'm quitting." And he lived in Oak Hill, okay, and I lived over on the west side of Jackson, So we weren't going south. We actually started driving, and we get down to Cardo's, and we make a left, and we start going up Portsmouth Street. And I thought, well, hell, Oak Hill's that way. What are we doing going up Portsmouth Street? Because Chad lived at the corner of Portsmouth.
It's our house.
Whatever it was. And so we just pulled right in front of the Methodist church right there and parked, and Dad looked back at me. He said, if you're going to quit, he said, then just grab your shit and walk up there on the porch and quit.
Knock on the door and tell
knock on the door. He said, "Look, they're all here." He said, "Look, I see all their cars." He said, "There's Coach Horse, there's Coach Layton." He said, "Just walk, grab your shit. It's right there in the back. Just go up there and quit." And I was like, "Well, give me till Monday."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'll quit Monday." Nope. If we're gonna quit right now. If not, I don't want to hear another word about it.
Yep.
So there it was.
Lesson learned.
I shut up.
Be no more talking about
quitting.
But coaches, man, they can make a big impact on kids, and you know, and I will say that our local Pee Wee program is blessed with really good coaches that know the game, and they've been doing it.
And I tell you what,
like I said, I don't want it to get misconstrued that I was downing our Pee Wee program, because I wasn't.
You're just saying about the whole starting early.
Well, yeah, and I'm just saying as a parent,
and he's gonna have a big W spray painted on the side of his house.
Yeah. Oh God, Dad, I'll be disowned.
You're not talking about that. You're just talking about. That's a sport that is a football. Especially.
It's a different type of sport.
It's a different type of sport, and it's grueling.
Well, and not every kid is. I look at myself and wonder how I would have done.
You didn't have it, did you?
No, we had flag football. Our first contact football was 7th grade. Yeah, 7th grade.
Did you play, Tyler? You played in Pee Wee? You didn't play in Pee Wee. See there's prime.
Yeah.
Example. Started right.
Yeah,
you started on varsity.
Yeah, we were. I didn't do it till 7th grade, but I look back and think, man, dude, I know that I was not tough mentally. Yeah. I wasn't mentally tough. Maybe even as a senior.
Yeah.
Or till I got. The game didn't come to me till I got older. Yeah. Now I played.
Yeah.
And I never had a bad experience.
Sure.
But it didn't come back to me. It took a lot of years of lifting weights.
Yeah.
And I just look and think, man, a 3rd grader. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, and we have this talk a lot at the house. It's especially with my dad. It's just not like it was. Man, even in the last 10 years, man, this technology stuff. Crazy. Look at us. We're talking to the world.
Yeah,
right now, and that's something that is incredible, and these kids can do it, and they're good at it.
Yeah.
And it's chasing them back.
Oh yeah.
So it's like they're the technology worlds are coming at the kids, and the kids are coming at the technology world, and it's not like back when we were younger and all the neighborhood kids got around and played at the park. Now they get together and they sit in their bedrooms and they just text a guy in the other house and they all do it.
So all right. So and you're exactly right. So let's address my previous point there. Maybe that's garbage, because I think we should take any physical activity
and push it
or something and be like, well, hell yeah, go do it.
Yeah, right on.
Because there's
that's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, hey, I don't really give a damn if he's doing good at it or not.
Yeah,
he's getting some exercise.
Yeah,
he may pick it up. He's going to learn some.
Well, the thing I like is I don't care what sport you play. I don't care whether you're a member of the marching band, the plays and all that stuff. Here's the thing: be passionate about what you're doing, and that. The greatest experience of that is working with other people. Mm-hmm. Being a part of a team.
Yeah.
And I don't care what sport it is. I don't care if it's or the marching band or whatever. Being a part of an organization is an invaluable experience for anybody.
Especially here, I say it all the time, and I mean it. Tradition never graduates.
It doesn't, man.
You walk around, you guys get those white jackets for going undefeated. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's for the rest of your life. You got one. You know what I mean? You got to break it out every now and then.
He likes to talk about it.
I'll talk about it every day. Well, that's why you win them, man.
Right on, man. That's what makes it so special.
I was riding horses, if he's listening, shout out to Bill Haynes, but he was like, he goes, does your white white jacket have a? Because he's got one too from the early '60s. Yeah. And he said, "Does your white jacket have an all leg patch on it?" Mine's got one. And I said, actually, mine's got 3.
Touche. Very nice. Very good.
So
very good.
Some of that.
You should have answered it, but no. Yeah, it doesn't have one. It's got 3.
It's got 3. Yeah. and you know, it's whenever I have gotten a chance to pull that out, you know, like I ride horses with Kitty Taylor and those guys. And
KT.
They went 9-0-1. So you know, I mean, I tell them all. They'll say, "Well, my God, we was undefeated."
Not quite.
You know what? I was going to bring it up if we'd have won this week.
Yeah,
this past week at Chillicothe,
but you know, got the white one.
I was going to ask a guy that's a white jacket guy. Okay, I mean this is the only season they were given, right?
Yeah,
I mean it was 6 games.
Would they have got it?
White jacket or not? What's your take? Undefeated.
I would say maybe a white jacket with red sleeves or something.
Oh,
you can't give them 10.
You'd have to put an asterisk on there.
Well, I mean, you'd have to. I mean,
Mercury Morris, like Mercury Morris for the Miami Dolphins, toasting champagne when somebody loses.
Right. I mean, that's tough. I mean, obviously it's not the kid's fault.
No,
but you know, at the same time, you're just playing your league schedule. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not playing the. You know.
Well, and I mean, there's a hell of a lot of difference between 6 and 10 games.
Yes, there is.
I mean, you know,
the 40%.
Yeah.
You know. But no, I've just back to the coaches, and I'll shut up about it. No. Is you know the impact that they make. I'll say Blaine, his 3 Pee Wee coaches he had just for the one season. Yeah, I guarantee you, man. If they called him tonight and asked him to run through a wall or go tip 2 or 3 calls, he'd do it.
There's no question.
He absolutely
Jim
loves
Humphreys was.
I mean,
not to get too local or nothing, but I mean Jim Humphreys.
Well, what he did
here, and what he's done for Jackson football or Jackson really period.
Yeah.
And now what's cool was watching his sons do it, and I mean, you know, Dave's at the helm. Those guys had a meeting, and I've known all of them forever, you know, and they had a meeting, and they had it at Stockroom, and they let me sit in on it, and I knew right then and there that our kids were in the best hands that they could possibly be in. Dave Humphreys, this was about the COVID, and you know, everybody thinks that those guys are win. Let me tell you something. They are about your child.
Oh, absolutely.
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's a Humphreys trade, dude.
That's a Humphreys deal there, and all of them. Dave said, "Hey, he said, I'm not trying to, you know, I boys, there's nothing I want to do other than to go out and play football, and that's what my dad would want to do." But he said, "I just couldn't live with myself if something would happen to a child."
Yeah.
And there it was, and I mean, you know, I agree with him.
Take my hat off.
I do too.
Doing that.
I tell everybody
we don't need to be playing Pee Wee football with this going on, man. Nope. I mean, you know, we don't.
So basketball is getting ready to sign up, and we got to get off sports. That's what I've talked enough.
Boy, they'll think we're jocks.
Basketball. So are they going to have basketball?
I'm not. I think they're going to try. At least I know on the high school level. Again, on the lower levels, I just don't know. But what I'm hearing that they are going to try. Now, again, you know, it's tough, man. How many, you know, especially with football, you know, some of these games that Blaine's played in, you get 2 tickets.
Yeah.
You know, it's me and mom. What about stepmom? You know, what about grandma, grandpa? What about
you're a functional kid?
Yeah, you know.
I was rolling in 6 deep, son.
Yeah, and that's me too. It's like, you know, hell, half the crowd, you know, the games are there to see Blaine, you know, and so how are you going to do that in basketball? You're inside.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
And
during sniffle season.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, you know.
And so it's going to be interesting.
I hear this is all I've heard, but I did hear from a valuable source yesterday, I forget who it was, that was saying they were pushing for half occupancy now.
Really?
Okay. They're wanting to step it up to half.
Yeah.
I know that the high school, you know, our local, the coach here was saying that, you know, right now it's undetermined as far as spectators.
Right.
Yeah.
But determined that the season will go, yeah, and it may the spectator range could range from 0, you know, to 50% occupancy.
Yeah.
But,
my thing, as long as they got to have a season, I didn't care. If it was no parents at all, as long as they got to play, I was cool.
Yeah.
Now, would I've liked it? No. Would I've been probably driving around the fields looking for
I think
probably a tree stand up the tree somewhere? But
I think you're going to see, you know, this is a great transition. You know, you're a media guy.
Yeah.
And I think you are going to see a lot more schools take over their media And I think they're going to keep doing this because, dude, those things looked legit.
Yeah, how good was Jackson's?
Wow.
What a way to consume a high school football game.
I
mean, my father-in-law came out to the stockroom with us there Friday. He had heard us. We'd been talking about it. He couldn't believe the picture quality and stuff. And I mean,
and that was on a projector.
Yeah. I mean, but he was just like, wow, man. I mean, you know.
the camera angles. And,
instant
replays.
Replays. No, I mean, look, I'm biased, but I thought Jackson just did a hell of a job.
I think all of them have.
That's student run, man.
I know.
I mean, you know.
And what a trait to be picking up as a student. I mean,
absolutely.
you know, I mean, there's no question about this tech stuff and this media stuff. It's not going anywhere.
Oh no,
you know.
I mean,
so you're an old school radio guy.
Yeah.
You know, how long ago were you on the air? When did you start going on the air?
Believe it or not, and I was thinking about this today because I figured it would come up. And I still to this day, you know, I'll look at my kid while he's gorfing down his gallon of milk and his chicken wings or whatever at 14. I was on the air at 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I started, you know.
Yeah. Tell that story.
So I actually started. I knew that I wanted to do it, and so I had an English teacher in junior high, and her husband was actually on a public radio station. So he let me come in and sit in with him one day while he was doing the show, and I fell in love. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what it's all about. So ended up there was a little small AM station over in Nelsonville, Ohio, and I bugged the hell out of the guy that owned the place. I'm like, I'll take out the trash, whatever you want me to do. So guess what? They hired me. I was taking out the trash, and I was working on the weekends, and they let me basically run the Rick D's Weekly Top 40 and the Bob Kingsley Country Countdown at that time.
Okay.
So I'm just pushing the buttons and playing the commercials in the commercial breaks.
You're learning at that time how to operate
on the board.
Yeah.
And so learned all that, and then one evening I was in there. They had me in there on the weeknight for something. I don't recall what, but the program director came in and he said, "Hey, you want to read the news? 5 o'clock news?" And I'm like, sure. And what was really cool is I always told this story is I didn't have time to get nervous. So back then they had the rip and read AP Wire, news. So he just hands me like this stack of papers or whatever. And he said, okay, so when the red light comes on, just, start reading. And he said, just make sure you identify the station when you open your mic and when you're done. And he said, that's the cue for the producer and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. So, we're just standing there. Next thing I know, the red light's on. I mean, I didn't have time to be nervous. He's like, boom, you're on. So I read the news, and, of course, back then you didn't have the cell phones or whatever.
Yeah.
Hell, it was a long-distance call home to Mom and Dad to tell them I was going to read the news.
Yeah, right.
And so
from Nelsonville to Meigs, right?
Albany.
Yeah.
So I read the news, and he's like, hey, man, you did pretty good at that. And so he started me out, and so I started doing the news a little bit more, and he gave me a few more responsibilities. And about 2 months later, the guy there's two guys, but the first that really was probably, I always say, built me, was a guy by the name of John Frame. He started a brand new station, Radio 11. You're gonna love this, WYNO, Wonderful Wino Radio. And he
very catchy.
Yeah, but the guy was a radio legend himself. He'd been in Chicago, and then he came to Columbus and worked at 610 TVN. This dude was so good. This was back before the technology. The Levesque Tower in downtown Columbus. He had a penthouse on top of it. Well, he's like, I'm not coming to the studio anymore. I'm doing my show from here. So the engineers back then, they set up a Marty unit for him, and he actually did his show every morning
via phone line
over top. A Marty transmitter, which basically shot the signal back to the studio, and they piped it through the board. And so the producer was in the studio, and John did his show
all on the antenna, man.
Yeah, on top of Levesque Tower in downtown Columbus, for forever. So John, man, was solid. And so he just called me up one day, and he was like, hey, kid, how'd you like your own show? And I'm like spinning records and everything? He said, absolutely. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And so, like I said, at that time, I'm 14, so Mom and Dad had to pick me up every day after school in Albany, drive me up to Nelsonville. My show started at 4, got done at 7, then one of them had to drive back and pick me up. And yeah, and so I did work for John for a couple 2 or 3 years, and guy loved to pitch quarters, and he would wipe me out every time, in between songs or in the hallway pitching quarters. So Dad and Mom, believe me, everything I was making working for him,
Yeah,
I was
you
giving
was
back
losing,
to him,
yeah.
bitching quarters.
Yeah.
But he kept saying, when you get good enough to beat me, you're good enough to move on. Well, lo and behold, the week before, actually the week after I beat him, a 50,000 watt FM in Parkersburg, West Virginia, 95 XIL calls and says, look, how would you like to come down here? We'll start you out part-time. And I'm like, dude, I mean, I grew up listening to 95 XIL, Scott Matthews in the morning.
Yeah.
So I jumped all over, and he's like, look, you've earned it. And so I went down there, worked basically part-time. I was really never full-time there. And then when I turned 16 and got my license, a guy by the name of Lou Davis picks up the phone and calls me. And me and Lou, we have a storied history. You know, I went to work for him and, and came to Jackson, and I've been here ever since. I tell people I've been up and down the radio dial probably twice. And, and I'm not joking. Lou probably hired and fired me 13 or 14 times. I mean, he'd get pissed and run me off. It was kind of like Steinbrenner and Billy Carter. But, he would or Martin, I mean, he would just get, he'd get so pissed at me, and then he's like, he'd call me back, but I really, really learned, John Frame kind of built me and showed me what it was built to be a pro. Lou showed me, the business side of it, and local, how important just being a good local radio station is, and I think a lot of that gets lost anymore. You've got your iHearts of the world, and, these
Spotify's,
big, and they just and that's the thing, even now, locally, I think it's important. You've got to give, your local listeners something that they can't get anywhere else, because like you said, Spotify, Pandora, hell, if you want music, you don't need local radio.
No.
So, you've got to have news, or, you got to be entertaining. You got to do something, and you got to do it good, if you want them to stick around. But, so I started at 14. I'm 50 now, and I'm still playing.
That holds your 50 years old.
But I'm sure you have seen, because without a doubt, there's been a major change in that industry, and people are going more to the podcasts and the online formats, the satellite shows, and a lot of local radio has been gobbled up by syndication and that kind of thing.
And they have, but at the same time, radio, and I still read a lot of industry publications. Radio is the number one medium. I mean, more people still listen to radio than any other medium out there, which is a bit shocking to me. I got to admit, I'm a radio guy.
Yeah.
It's a bit shocking, but it's still the number one medium. People still, listen to it. And it's, but again, it's what are you giving them? You got to give them a good reason to listen.
And that whole deal that, just rate that style of marketing, even television ads.
Right.
There's a difference between, marketing and direct marketing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, okay, now I get it. You're in so many listeners, okay, but I mean, did they particularly tune in to you? Where, like, I will say, like, on your online platforms, that's kind of, we've went to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. Well, our number might not be as big, but here's the deal.
Right.
They listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, they actually physically listen to us. I think, what did we have? 3,800, 5,000 listens.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they listen to.
Sure.
So I mean, they directly, this wasn't playing in the background.
They're making a concerted effort to turn you on.
To turn you on. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that there is a hole for I think there's a spot for everything.
Sure.
I think that there is a spot for radio. Anymore, it's kind of like MTV. Remember, MTV used to be nothing but music television.
Right.
Oh yeah, now it's a reality show.
Well, now and they had to give you something to keep you like. Man, I was listening to some podcast the other day, and they were breaking down these analytics of things, and they were like, okay, consider a 19-year-old, your average 19-year-old right now has as many followers as a 1920s or 30s movie star.
Wow.
It might have been the guy on Joe Rogan. He was a psychiatrist. Yeah, he was talking about. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's how much the world has changed.
But I mean, and those people are directly tuned into you, watching your every move. I mean, it's just so. Like I said, I think there's a pocket for everything. Your local stuff, you have to break it down and give people more attention. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about like all these Social Dilemma. I watched that movie. That's what it was. And they were talking about how these guys are just duking it out for your time.
Yeah.
Who can occupy as much of my phone time as they possibly
Right
can?
on.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, we do a local radio spot every Friday morning on a guy that's got a pretty long running morning show down in Hiawassee, Georgia.
We've talked about it. It's very similar to something you would do.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he's got a great following, and we go on there.
Shout out Steve Phillips.
Yeah, shout out Steve Phillips in the morning dish. WJUL.
We'll be on there in the morning.
We'll be there on there in the morning again, and it's. We've been doing that. I mean, that's enjoyable. And I'll tell you what, man, like I give him a shout out, like what he's done to keep up with it and keep it going. Man, that guy's bringing some amazing guests on there.
He's figured out some little you might know about these.
Hey, Steve, we still want to know your secrets, man. We're not going to leave you alone.
Man,
we want Paul Thorne.
He was getting some guests and stuff, and then all of a sudden he gets into this new line of guests. Like you know how that is.
He had Wink Martindale on there last year. Last week.
He just had Paul Thorne on there.
Yeah.
He had somebody else. John Schneider was on there, I think.
I was really lucky that when our show took off, I got hooked up with a couple of different companies that would write some stuff for me. And the one guy, and we keep in touch. Matter of fact, I talked to him today. He's like, man, when are you going to start doing a show? Because, I mean, when we were talking, he said, the lead singer from Judas Priest. Yeah. He said, you want him next Wednesday? He said, if you can make time for him 3 to 5, can an interview. He said, I got him for you. Yeah. One of the guys from the Backstreet Boys, last week, he's constantly.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and so. It's really cool because you can, what you
guys did, though, JJ, my memory of your show, that you guys built a cast of characters there.
Absolutely,
that was. It was unbelievable,
and it was so much different back then to what you were typically getting. You were typically getting, well,
you
at
guys
5 p.m. tonight we have chance of showers,
and that's a hell of a story there.
You guys were different. You were innovative at the time like that, and you had this cast of characters, and your show was very rich. It was never the same 2 days in a row.
Absolutely
So I imagine you guys spent a lot of time on getting that thing ready to go.
I did, and I don't want to take all the credit because the cast of characters made the show, but I will say I spent more time producing that show, than actually doing a 4-hour show. I mean, look around; it takes some time. Yeah. You just don't throw it together. But what was really cool is I wanted it to be spontaneous. So nobody in that room knew what the hell was coming but me. Yeah. Because I wanted Porterhouse, my sidekick. I wanted him to laugh like a hyena.
Yeah, you wanted him on his toes. You wanted him.
Exactly. I wanted that.
So you didn't like to script anything.
No. I kind of had it planned out where I was going and what I was doing, but nobody else knew.
Right.
And so I think that helped a lot. And then everybody just got a nickname, and it all sort of came together. But when we started that, it was kind of like you said, the 5 p.m. news. Yeah. They hired we want you to do mornings. Yeah. Play a few songs, read the news, don't piss anybody off. And I'm like, okay.
Go through the motions.
So then, I got away with a couple things. So I got a little more rope. So I got a little more rope. And so, after a while, man, we were getting out there and we were getting on the edge, but I knew where the edge was. So I get called to the guy that owned the station's office one day. And, he calls me in. Or actually, I got off the air and I walk out. Lovely Rhonda, who was one of our characters, she was also the secretary, and she did not want to be on the radio. But I made her, and how I made her be on the radio initially was she wouldn't come back in the studio, so I would call the station. So she had to answer the damn phone. So now you're on there, you don't have any choice. You got to answer the phone. So I walk out after the show, and she's looking at me, and she's like, "Look, you need to go out to the office. Boss wants to see you." And I'm like, "Holy hell!" And I looked at Porterhouse, and I'm like, "We didn't do anything that was way over the edge, just out of the ordinary, did we, man?" And he said, "I don't think so, man." I'm like, "Well, we may have a gig when I get back. I don't know." So I go out there and I walk in. He's like, "Hey, you want a cup of coffee?" I mean, everything's kosher. I'm like, "Yeah." So we sit down, and he said, "I just want you to listen to something." And I'm like, "Okay." So he pulls up his voicemail on his phone and hits play. And there's this little old lady that apparently went to church with his mother. And she starts in on me, man. And I mean, she is running me. You would have thought I was Lucifer. She is running me over the coals. I mean, she could have told you what I had for lunch, breakfast, and I mean, and so
she didn't appreciate your topics.
Some of the stuff we were doing. So I'm like, by the time it's over, I'm like, I got my head on his desk, and I kept trying to interrupt. I'm like, I was trying to, and he's like, just listen. So it gets done, turns the thing off, and I'm like, well, here comes the "you're fired," here comes the pink slip.
Yeah.
He said, when you started this, you told me that you would, whether they liked you or not, you would make them listen. And he said, guess what? She hates your guts, but she's listening. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, so I get this call about once a week. If she ever stops calling, you're fired. And so I go back to the station. I look at Porterhouse. I'm like, dude, the gloves are off, man. I said,
Here we go.
So when was that hot? What years was that hot?
Late 90s.
Late
90s, early 2000. Because we went down. Heck, man, they flew us down to Mardi Gras. We did the show down there.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. The thing that I remember about it is that was a time. I was early 20s myself, like around that, and I mean, that was a time when like you had a ton of like competition for morning radio and stuff,
absolutely,
man. I mean, you had all those Columbus stations, you had the Huntington guys, and you guys were killing it. Yeah, I mean, you guys had everybody listen to the.
We called. It was another prep company that I wanted in the fold because they had some funny stuff, and I wanted it, and I called the guy, and of course they look at your numbers. They want, know, anymore they'll just about give it to you, because it's changed so much. But then you actually had to be pretty decent. They didn't want to give you their material, and you ass it up. So I called this guy, and he's like, let me look at your numbers, and I'll get back to you. And I'm thinking, well. Okay, he doesn't realize we're out here in the sticks. Yeah. So he calls me back, and I can't remember where we were, but he said, in the Charleston-Huntington market, he said, you guys, you're doing pretty well there. And I'm like, hell, they can't even hear us in Huntington.
I know.
I know. But he's like, you got the numbers. We want to come on board, man. And I'm like, whoa. It's like you said, I'm like, people are listening.
How would they gauge those numbers? How would they? I wonder how they knew
Back
that.
then, it was called Arbitron, and they actually gave you like a diary.
Well, didn't they survey people?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
how
what
they got it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how would you know how many? How would you know how many listeners in that world?
They got it down to a science now. Nielsen has taken over for Arbitron, and it's a science. They can tell you right down to the day part. Like 6A to 10P.
Oh yeah.
You've got listenership for men 25 to 54, women in that category. Yeah. And honestly, in radio, what I've learned since I came back, 25 to 54 is pretty much the target demo across the board.
Yeah,
that's where the advertisers. That's what they're looking for.
That's what they want.
But okay, if you're driving down the road and you're in your Jeep or whatever, so you got a Cadillac. Okay, so I'm sure it's touch screen or what.
Yeah, I don't know what half of it will do yet.
So, but I'm saying, how in the hell do they know if you're a 28-year-old girl?
They again, it's Nielsen. You get it used to be in the old days. You got the diary. They would say, call you up, you want to do this, and you had the diary, so you would write down your age, when you were listening, what times you were listening to. Nielsen's got it down to like electronic thing now of some sorts. And I honestly, to be right up front with you, I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Yeah,
but Nielsen took over for Arbitron, and they gauge it the same way. It's kind of like TV. I mean, how do you tell?
Yeah,
who's watching Monday Night Football?
I think it's still like kind of the old like direct. Like I'm sure they're doing it via text and stuff now, but like, isn't it just an ask? Like, what are you watching? Or what are you listening
to? Right.
Well,
I think that you track it for like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, a month. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't know. We can Google it.
Do you know? I don't. Oh my God, what good is he?
Well, I think it probably works different for like the podcasts and
I'm sure it does, but I'm just saying, like, I guess I'm just sitting here thinking. I mean, to me, that's an analog signal, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's nothing digital, so how are you going to get data from that?
Right. Well, digital's coming.
Well, but they're probably doing the same thing we are, though. Like shows like, the Nut Hut would have a Facebook page.
Sure.
And Instagram and all that. Yeah. And I would imagine that most, radio shows like that are probably doing some form of a podcast.
I'm sure,
or something,
sure.
Or like
I don't know. I'm not saying.
I don't know either. I would be curious to know, like, if you're in radio, like Steve and those guys with the Morning Dish, or like the Nut Hut. Let's say you started that up again.
And now Steve has an app.
Sure, he does.
Or at least a site,
right?
Because that's how you do it, isn't it, Tyler? Don't you just? Yeah, he just
now like clips. what if you went the what
there
I'm saying is
digital. That's digital.
Well, I think that the goal would probably be to be syndication, correct? Like if somebody hears the Nut Hut and it's like, damn, that's good. Sure, we're gonna pick that up and we'll play that all over the country,
right,
on our satellite station or
That's the
whatever.
goal,
yeah, I mean, is that kind of the goal now?
Well,
no,
because I mean,
give me one of them Bud Zeros.
There's
what
only
else you got
so
there?
many.
Need one?
No, actually, I need. Can you go take a leak for me?
Yeah.
no, I take a leak. We'll take a little break.
Pause it?
We'll just pause it.
Okay,
We'll just pause it.
All right.
Yeah,
Time out. I want a full time out.
Yeah.
We've got everybody peed. We're back with the syndication.
It sucks getting old, man.
Hell, I feel like a 20-year-old.
I always feel like though when I'm peeing constantly like that, I feel like, hey, good man, the body's working.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to do it.
Like
what
I worry about
not gonna do it.
is when I can't pee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I worry.
Yeah, we'll get into something a little bit later, but I mean, I drink like a ton of water when I wake up.
Yeah.
And then in the evenings, like I said, I'm on this Bud Zero kick, hot and heavy right now, and
That's delicious.
And it's pretty good for non-alcoholic brew.
So we took a little break here, listeners, and we went and got us I have a Busch NA.
Right.
And I never had this. Is my first NA beer. Never even had a O'Doul's.
Yeah, well, you don't believe me. Don't take a step back.
This is completely different.
And now, Chad, you're drinking the Zero. Now, this is not to say that we've quit drinking.
No.
This is more of a caloric. We like the taste of beer,
yeah,
and there's finally a good one.
Well,
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest. I have lived under the assumption that all of the NAs were probably like O'Doul's.
Right.
The old, you remember back in our day, JJ, when we were little guys, the near beer. What was it, Kingsbury or
Little Kings.
Little
Well,
Kings.
no. There was a near beer that was like,
Yeah,
you could get it over there at Handy Mart, Roger Hammond's place.
Yeah.
But this is pretty good. I'm on the latte.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say
Would
it's
this
not
be
bad,
a Busch Light NA, or is this just
That's a
It'd
Busch.
be a hell of a lot
Busch.
closer to Busch Light though,
Yeah,
probably
I'm
with
guessing.
the water content.
How's that Bud Zero?
It's good. Well, I mean, what I would say is it tastes like beer. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't see a big difference between this and the 55.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's
This is
like
60
I love
calories.
the taste of beer. I just I don't like waking up feeling like a lazy bum the next day.
Yep.
So I can do this, and
that's-
you can go to your kid's football game and not stagger around. And,
Yeah.
and you know what's awesome is your breath doesn't smell like beer.
I was going to say, is it the alcohol that does that?
Yeah,
so
I
you're
think
not
so.
like you're not walking around blowing beer fumes.
No, because I can't remember where I was going, but my wife, it was either the NA or the Budweiser. I just had one. I think I was going to Kroger or somewhere, and I said, "Hey, do I smell like beer?" And she's like, "Well, breathe on me," and she's like, "No." I was like, "Do it again." And no,
Nothing.
No, nothing. So yeah.
Well, like you said, guys are just driving up down the road drinking these NAs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to worry about
Well,
Johnny Law with those babies.
that's the way Heineken is advertising it. They got some guy driving a nice sports car with the top down, just swigging a Heineken NA.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to make us a Busch Latte NA.
Yeah, we are. We're going to have to.
That's kind of what we talked off air a little bit about. I would like to see more like restaurants and places where you go out to eat and have dinner. You could carry this stuff because where I've just basically stopped drinking, but I, like I said, love the taste of beer. Would like I was telling you, a pizza place that my wife and I like to go to down on the Ohio River. Yeah. We'll drive down there on a nice evening. And I'd love to have a big old frosty mug, a Bug Zero, and a big pizza.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
do they? I wonder. Like, has anybody talked to Glasgow? Or anybody? Do they put it in kegs? Do they have?
I
this?
doubt
I
it.
don't think so.
I doubt
I don't
it.
think so.
Yeah.
Now Matt was trying to find it for me because this stuff, the Zero's been tough to get. I mean,
bet.
it's but finally our buddy Pete, Bob, over at the pub, he's actually got it in, and I said, look, when you order again, just order me a case. That way I've got it at home, and so.
Yeah,
Well,
so you just can't go buy that at the store. That's
No, I mean, I think you're going to be able to eventually. I think they've got it out there. It sold well, and then you hear everything. I don't know if it sold
Yeah, I
that well
haven't
or
seen
the
that.
aluminum shortage or whatever.
Yeah.
I think a combination of both. But Glasgow told me, he's like, man, you can't find it. And I did luck out a little drive-through over in Chillicothe. I drove through there one day, and I noticed they had the NA, and I looked up, and they had these in the 6-packs, and I said, hey, do you have like a case of that back there? And she said, no. And I said, well, how many of the 6-packs you have up there? I said, that stuff's like crack. You make a big kick out of it. And she said, I got 3. I said, I'll take all 3.
Yeah.
And so was over there for a football game last week, and I went through the same drive-through, and they had it back in stock. So I said, I'll take 3 more. So
keep buying it.
Well,
like I said, I'm hooked up with Pete now. So I can get
Well,
it
let me ask you this, JJ.
Well,
Like,
Pete's getting things. Glasgow's got to be getting it.
right on.
how many of those will you drink in a session?
Probably.
Like, is it just like drinking beer? Like,
Yeah,
you might sit down and watch a football game, drink 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean it.
Yeah.
You've turned it more into, hey, this is how I'm going to relax. This is my reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Now or are you using it as a daily drink?
I like a lot of times, like here, to be honest, last 2 weeks probably more like a daily drink. Initially maybe once.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I can come home, sit down, flip on the TV, watch Sports Center or whatever, and
Heck,
grab
it's
a
better
frosty
for you.
mug.
It's better for you than the Diet Coke. And I mean, I like the
50
idea
calories.
of pouring it into a cold glass.
Yeah, I love a frosty mug. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
that's,
man.
That's because when I stopped drinking, and believe me, it's hard when you drink the way I drank. Just totally stop drinking, But the one thing that, and I would tell people, do you crave it? I'm like, absolutely. I love beer. I love the taste of beer. Do you crave it? Well, what's the one thing I crave? You would think it'd be like a cold bottle of beer, a can of beer. I always a big frosty draft beer. I mean,
that's what you want.
I always I'd love to walk into Buffalo Wild Wings and have a big cold frosty.
Yeah.
So to me, this has been a blessing in disguise because look, if I can have this and enjoy the taste of beer, without the effects of beer,
that gets it. Like that gets it done.
Yeah, that's perfect for me. That's all I need. So.
Because I think so many beer drinkers, and tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't know. We've talked about this on the show multiple times. Like, I don't feel like I drink for the effect as much as the process.
You like the process.
I love the process of sitting here talking to the guys.
Oh, I love it.
Or whatever, and drinking beer.
Yep.
Okay? What's the difference?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't like the buzz of beer.
Right.
Now I tend to like the whiskey buzz a little bit better. I like the way that it. Now the problem I don't like about the whiskey buzz is it's buzzing and then it just hits you in the face.
Yeah, see, I don't.
You're
Bam!
I'll be honest with you. I don't care for any buzz on it. Like, I mean,
but you're gonna get it.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't hate it.
No,
but what I
like
don't
it.
like is getting out of control.
Right.
Spent too many years doing that.
Yeah,
I'm ready to retire.
And I mean,
ready to retire that guy.
And the other thing I don't like is having to go home and just hydrate my ass off so that I can wake up in the morning and not be.
So we were at that race last weekend, and this would have been great for after that race. I had to drive home, so I really couldn't drink anything.
Yeah.
So I could have been just out there hanging out with those guys, enjoying a cold beer.
Yep.
Just didn't have any alcohol in it.
Well,
or maybe have one and then switch to these.
That's what I mean. I think these things, and this is probably not their intention, but I mean, where my mind is already going is a glass of bourbon and a Busch NA.
Yeah. I would buy that.
What this has allowed me to do, because when you stop drinking, you realize you can't hang around with the people that you used to hang around with.
Yeah, and that's tough.
And it's hard. Or I can't walk into a bar and hang out, and I miss that. I miss my buds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had to cut that off for a while. Well, here recently, probably 3 weeks ago, your cousin's 50th birthday party.
Okay. Yeah.
Having a surprise party. Why don't you come? I'm like, okay, man, this is a test for me. You know what I mean? I'm going to be around all my old drinking buddies. People I used to throw down with.
Yeah.
This is a real test. Well, I take 12 of these with me, and I'm like, I got a can in my hand. Tastes like beer to me. I had a great time.
Sure. I mean, did anybody come up to you and be like, "Hey, JJ, come on, man"?
No,
nobody cares. Nobody gives. Nobody cares.
I seen someone.
Well, you're going to see. Actually, that's what's great about this can compared to that one. This one just says Budweiser Zero.
Yeah.
What? And you own that one. Why did you do it so badly here with that NA? They could have just went, Bush, whatever.
You know what, man? I think that they're not apologizing. I think that's what it stands for.
Hey, well, there you go. Never thought about that either.
Yeah.
Hey, get it in you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, but you're not going to suspect. You would just think this is Budweiser's new Zero beer.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, because of the cases.
Ultimate low carbs.
The can cases look a lot like the 55.
Sure, exactly. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
they're
when
geniuses. There's a reason they're Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've said this on the show a few times now. There's a big trend out there, young people wanting mocktails, non-alcoholic drinks, but I love the idea of just if you're rewarding yourself. I do enjoy. We're men of leisure.
Oh, hell yes.
All things leisure.
Hell yes, we are.
We're all things leisure. So
yes.
I mean, it is relaxing to me to go home and fire up. Now I've kind of got into these cigars.
You put the Hertz on that one.
I did, and then and have a glass of bourbon.
You need to start collecting the rings there, bud. Get you a little
Get a little thing of rings.
More dairy, make you a good thing in your garage. Yeah.
Now, there was another thing. You know what else I like now? There's two things that I've got into. I got to give a shout out to this guy.
Oh yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We had a guy that we were vendors beside this weekend. We served beer this weekend.
Right.
Chad and I did, and we were this stuff is called. Do you drink coffee?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, until I found this stuff, I mean, I was my dad. I had coffee all day, every
long.
day.
No, that's what I was just drinking.
Yeah.
And this stuff is called Berserker, like Berserker, and he was selling it to these guys at this athletic race, so then here I come, and I was like, he's like, well, this one, and it helps your body, and it's got all these natural herbs in it or whatever, and I was like,
it's
okay.
some sort of a recovery
it's supposed to help you supposed to help you, be able to bounce back.
The coffee for like
athletes.
Athletes.
That's exactly what it says on the package.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I was like, well, give me a bag of it, And he did say, he goes, the thing you were going to notice about my coffee is he says it doesn't leave your stomach sour.
I'd be interested in trying that, actually.
Well, it doesn't. It's the smoothest, most non-souring to your stomach coffee I've ever tried.
You shouted it out on the internet.
Oh,
People
I did.
can see it there. Go to their website.
Yeah, go
man.
to Instagram and go look at
and
our
then
thing.
go to their website.
I tagged them in the whole bit.
Yeah, it's
good.
I got a cup of I got it earlier in the morning out there, and he had the
wake up blend.
A little bit of double caffeine. Man.
Yeah,
and what I'll say about it is the taste of it is awesome.
Awesome,
dude.
smooth.
It's like Starbucks or something.
I bought that Blanton's coffee. Did you see?
Yeah,
that?
I saw it. I was going to ask you about that.
Shit! Oh, it was awful.
Well, they're just selling it because of the Blanton's stuff.
That was the weakest stuff.
Well, no, I mean, listen, man, Blanton's. Let's take it easy on them. Blanton's doesn't make coffee, dude. They make whiskey.
I was thinking, this is just going to be rich in flavor, and this is man, whiskey.
Got the old kick in the nuts.
Took a drink of that
they sell a million bags out a year to guys just like you that love Blanton's and say, they'll try their coffee.
Yeah.
And then you realize that they make whiskey.
I've had stronger green teas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, Blanton's, thank you, good effort, stick to the whiskey.
Yeah, when I quit drinking, man, I was just coffee, and then it always
different coffees or just coffee.
Well, just coffee, and then I found the spot.
Yeah,
they
got good coffee.
Oh yeah, so now I'm kind of. My wife accuses me at time of being a coffee snob.
Oh yeah.
You're going to do it right.
It's great because there's one in particular I would get about every day after work. I leave the office and just drive straight to Jackson, go to the coffee shop, get my coffee. I'd sip on that till dinner time. But I always laughed, because I said, 5 years ago, I would get off work and walk into a bar, and there'd be a Bud Light sitting there waiting on me. Now I walk in, you've already got my coffee made. I said, you know what, I'm drinking here.
Yeah, we were a part of some of those afternoon round table beer drinking.
And I still, again, I go hang out with those guys at the round table. Man, those guys they're classics.
I've under the coffee now. I still struggle with what to order. At a coffee shop. Yeah. Like I would tell you to probably not take too deep a dive. I've gone down that rabbit hole.
Stay close to the house brew.
Yeah, and I was drinking a lot of sugar-free lattes.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to stay with your house brew.
Look, dude, it's all right.
Yeah,
like
what's your house brew?
My wife is not even a coffee drinker, and she's kind of like, dude, what are these? What are these $4 coffee purchases?
Or $5?
Thing. Yeah, like what is this?
My wife said, "You going to get you a pair of Vans and a MacBook?"
Yeah. Hey, I've got a MacBook.
They're kind of like, what's wrong with like Folgers and Maxwell House?
You know what? I love Folgers.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's all right.
But that Berserker, I tell you what, it's been a great coffee, man. I'm
going to reorder that. I would be half tempted to order that on.
I think coffee's a lot like going to like a craft beer place.
It is.
If you've never been in there, just stick close to the house. What's your house brew?
Yeah, I always respect a coffee shop that has one coffee up there that like they call it like something like the closest thing to real coffee, or our version of Folgers, or I like that when they do that, because then you can go right there, and
but I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying these. So these cigars.
So
what's the difference? So I had this
one.
Tell
me. Okay. All right. The first one you had was a Maduro.
Maduro.
That's a darker tobacco leaf that it's wrapped in. A little bit stronger tobacco. This is a Connecticut. Okay, so it's a different kind of leaf that it's wrapped in. And it's that's also a different shape. That's a Churchill, so that one's going to burn for a minute.
This is I can keep this one.
It's a little bigger. It's a little bigger, and yeah, we'll show you a trick. If you get done with it, we'll use your cutter and just cut the end off of it, and it's a new cigar for the next time you want to get it going.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah. Well, I never thought about doing that.
Well, yeah, you just go up about an inch where it hadn't had any burn or smoke, and you just clip her off.
This Chad's a man of leisure.
Well, now listen. When it comes to cigars, this ain't my first day on the job here.
Beer and cigars. This guy's got it down.
Yeah. I've done one or two of these.
I've been catching myself gnawing on them.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's me. I always have.
Now, what I would do. Now, there's a lot of people that will chew them and never light them.
Yeah, my neighbor does that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I would recommend if that's what you like to do
it.
I mean, we make fun of people. We were making fun of Swisher Sweets the other day.
Yeah,
King Edwards and stuff. But like, if you want to chew on one,
go for it.
Go get those.
Yeah,
because they taste pretty good if you're chewing them.
Really?
It's when you light them that you get problems.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you know.
He likes to smoke a cigar. He's enjoy it. You know, like I'll be out on my back deck, and you know, in the evenings, I'm like, all right, Dan just fired up a stogie.
Yeah.
You know, but when he's mowing his grass, it's never lit. He's just gnawing.
Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
Yeah, years ago. I was probably in my 20s then.
Okay, so
it's a good habit to get away from. Yeah.
Well, my dad, he quit on. My dad was like a 3-pack a day guy back in the 70s. Yeah.
Oh my!
And he quit on the first ever. He was on the radio for it. Surprised not with you. It was the Great American Smokeout.
Yeah, I remember those.
And he quit on the very first one. So he was going down to the plant that morning, and he said he would wake up in the morning if that's the first thing he did was grab him.
Oh, yeah.
And so he rides horses all the time, and he was like, man, I've thought about getting me a big old stogie and just lighting that up and packing that on a thing. But he's like, man, I quit smoking, and I hate to do this now.
Yeah,
this is different to me than cigarette smoking.
Well, it is. I think it's totally different. Like I'm not saying it's good for you. I'm not saying that at all.
What's bad? What's bad about it? Like where I'm not inhaling right there. What's bad about that?
Well, I mean, there's nicotine coming out of there, man.
So it's just
you're still getting a little.
Yeah, you're putting them in your mouth, and I mean, whether you want it to or not, some of it's going into your lungs, and hell, we're sitting here breathing it right now.
Yeah.
But the difference to me is you're not going to sit there and hammer those all day long.
No,
I don't think. There might be some people that do.
Yeah.
But like now, there might be a night where you have one.
Yeah.
Like the one you had there was small.
That was a very small cigar.
So
that would have been a 30-minute cigar.
Yeah. I mean, so you might have one, like if you're having a good night,
two. Yeah. Where this one here is going to last you all night.
Yeah. By the time you get to the end of that, baby, you're not going to want.
Do you think those guys back years ago, them old cowboys and generals, and mainly generals, military guys, do you think they just lived with one of these all the time?
Well, they say General Ulysses S. Grant, the head of the Northern Army there, he was, I guess he famously smoked one. He lit one with the other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
that'd be rough.
Yeah, probably not good for you. Yeah. They didn't worry as much about stuff.
To me,
like
that's
that,
an 18-hole cigar there.
There's no
light
question.
that up and chew.
Yeah, you get a Churchill. Yeah, that's
So you're lighting that up. You're taking that on the golf course. You're throwing it down on the green.
Absolutely.
You're probably relighting that gentleman 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
exactly.
Can. Now, I mean, you might sit down with a glass of bourbon or something, or a bush in hay, I don't know, on your back porch, or in the morning on a Saturday or something. You don't have a lot going on. Pour you a cup of coffee, sit down.
So break these price down. So what are you smoking?
This one I got is a Gurkha private blend Governor, and if you've purchased from Cigars International before, at the end of your purchase, they throw up this game. And I'm a sucker. Like they put this game up there, like where they put some cigars up there at very good prices, and you can add it to your order for, it's timed 20 seconds, and I'll be like, I'll hit 1 or 2 of them. And I got this, and I normally try to get something I've never tried. I've tried this now. I'll not be reordering these.
Okay.
I mean, it's not bad, but I'm on Gurkha anyway. But this one, I don't know, man.
Okay.
Not a huge fan. But
not a huge fan.
Not bad. Hey, I mean, I've never had a bad cigar. The best cigar is your favorite. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't matter.
Now I will say, I did feel the last time I had the Churchill, I felt rougher than I probably would have if I would have stuck with that one.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends on the blend. Like that one's a little bit more mellow than what you had.
I tell you what. Now this one here, I really like. That's a good. That's the same one you got, right?
Yeah. And I don't know. I always look at the color of the leaf. You know.
Well, I mean, the standard thing they'll do to you if you go to a cigar shop. Like, let's say you're new. You're like, hey man, I'm trying to figure out what kind of cigar. They'll ask you, you drink coffee? And you'll say yes, no. Hey, well, how do you drink your coffee? Do you drink it black?
Yeah.
Or do you like to add stuff to it? And if you say black, they're going to drive you to a cigar like this or that, a little
very raw,
little darker cigar.
Very raw.
Yeah, just a little heavier, maybe a little darker. If you're a cream and sugar guy, they're going to lead you more towards.
Well, what if I like black coffee but light cigars?
Well, you might.
Yeah,
and the only way you know,
and
the only way you know is to try, and that is by no means a mellow. Okay. I mean that is one of your darker Connecticut's. But like if you want to get into some really light ones, like Brickhouse makes a Connecticut that's a very light and mild cigar. It's very good. But I kind of like those. Like I like the darker milds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like. I kind of like. I mean, there's several in that genre. But I mean, the Churchills, you're committing to a smoke when you do that.
Yeah. You're saying, yeah. It'd be tough to just.
What's the coolest cigar shop you ever been in?
Oh man, I couldn't tell.
I've never been in one.
Mike Ditka's in Chicago.
I've heard about that.
That's a killer one.
Man, I gotta say probably, and this is really random, but I was in Vegas at a trade show. And we went to the one in Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
I mean, they had this huge. I mean, it was a humidor size this room. I mean, and we were in there, and I mean, there was you just name it, they had it.
Yeah.
And like they had my favorite brand for not. It wasn't ridiculous, but I'm like, well, I'm here, hell with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I could go on Cigars International and buy 5 of them for what I paid for one of them.
Yeah. They got you there, man.
Oh yeah. That's the thing about cigar stores. But there's something about it, man. You go up there, a lot of them, they'll cut it for you, they'll torch it, and hand it. They toast it up for you and then just hand it to you. It's nice.
Yeah. There's a little one in Medina, Ohio. It's just a small house. Very cool though. They got a smoking room and
dude, the smoking rooms are awesome.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
I haven't fully got into it yet. I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm trying, but I'm not.
Yeah, well, I gotta be careful because I like them and I got away from them.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
right
what you don't want to do, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I probably could. I don't really have the time, but like, I wouldn't want to descend into being an everyday guy. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, I like to kind of save it for special occasions. And I'll tell you, my favorite thing about cigars is giving them away.
Yeah.
You know, letting people share.
Thank you.
I'm
glad you love that.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
So if you were up for a day of leisure, you know, you live on the golf course now, right? So if they told you today, they said, "Hey JJ, Saturday, do whatever you want to do, but relax." What are you going to do?
Man, I haven't relaxed.
Because Chad and I, we've discovered that we are men of leisure.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
All things leisure we enjoy, so we're going to start picking people's brains on what's your leisurely.
Wow, you know, I mean, and bad as I hate to say it, I don't know that I've actually really relaxed in a long
Well, you
time.
need to.
I know, and I do, and my mind's always racing. Even when I, I'll leave the phone and just go out and sit on the deck, I'm thinking about something.
So there's some leisure. The deck would be your leisure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like that. You go golf.
We look deep into it, though, man. I mean, it may even be something leisurely from here to the bathroom. What did you do leisurely? You know?
We try to have as many moments of leisure per day.
The one time, it's a kind of a cool radio story. You know, I told you that we flew down to Mardi Gras and did the show, which was really cool. And of course, I was drinking a lot then. It was great. The general manager came to me because down there during Mardi Gras, it's a 3-for-1 happy hour. So you buy one, they give you 3.
So
doesn't
even sound legal.
Oh my God! So he comes to me like the next morning. And of course, my head felt like a basketball, and you're in Central Time, so you know you're hitting the air down there at 5 when it's 6 here. And so he's like, "You realize you drank 27 beers during happy hour last night?" I was like, "Hell, I didn't know when he was keeping score." You know?
It's like, all right, you got to leave. Hey, dude, you can't be counting beers.
Yeah. So they that went well, and so we flew down.
The general manager, Rain Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeopardy. So no, they flew us to Nashville to do the show, and so we did the show from Opryland, like up like on one of the the big decks up there, which was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But I'd never been to Opryland. Have you guys ever been there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is really cool. Like all the greenery and so we got down there and did the show, and I had like the afternoon just to myself, and I found the little rotating bar down there, and I sat down and chilled out there for a while and grabbed a couple and walked, and I'm like, I'm relaxing. It's like this is the first time. Like, wow, this feels really
I'm relaxing.
good. So I don't know. Let me ponder on that for a few minutes.
Alaska was the most relaxing place I've ever been because you don't have any cell phone service.
Vacations can be relaxing, but a lot of times it's when you got young kids, sometimes it's as hectic as
on
a lunch.
You try to relax.
It's a relaxing breakfast.
I mean, for me, man, I'll tell you, I'm pretty easy on it. Like I can throw on some music. Maybe pour myself a glass of whatever.
That's what I look forward to doing.
Yeah. And I mean, man, I'm not saying that I have to drink to relax. I don't want
this would do it.
Yeah.
I would get the same sensation.
Me too.
From doing that.
Right on.
Or like firing up the grill or the smoker. I love doing that, man.
I really look forward to it at night, just going home and just putting on the earbuds and watching something on Netflix after everybody goes to bed or something. And just I truly enjoy that. Or I'll make some phone calls. Like I'll call some buddies and catch up. Just what's been going on.
That's what I do when I'm on the road traveling for work or whatever. I get in the hotel room and I just catch up with people I haven't talked to.
I text a lot. I guess I can't say that I don't, but at the same time, I try to reach out to my friends.
I guess probably the thing that I enjoy most, which I don't know might be geeky. But on my days off, when I have one, is get up, put the coffee on, pet the dog, and the wife's working from home now, home office. I'll grab like my coffee mug, and I'm like, I'm just going for a ride. And I love just fishing around listening to morning radio. Not only local, but I'll grab the phone, and I just love listening to morning radio and listening, how their craft, how they do it. And
that's where we're at with podcasts. We like to listen to podcasts all the time,
And I enjoy riding like that too. That's relaxing. Like you get out on
Jeep
some
rides
or something.
Just go for
man. We had a great time this summer. Chad bought a Jeep this summer, and I've had a Jeep. And, man, we take Jeep rides every Sunday, and it was nice.
Hell yeah.
You got to find things though.
Man,
that
I
you
would like
relax.
to have a Jeep, but you can't touch those things, man. Those things are outrageous.
Oh, you get one like I got, you can.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
mine's a 1999.
You know how everybody, whenever they buy a Harley, they usually go out and buy a Sportster.
Right.
Well, I would say that the Sportster is your 1997 through 2001 TJ Wrangler.
Right.
And everybody buys one of them for $3,000 to $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah.
And then boom, next thing you know, they're upgrading to a 4-door.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my daily driver. I've still got my truck. But
I'd love to have one, but like I said, every time you find one, it's just outrageous.
Well, you've got the thing of leisure there in your backyard. You golf, right. So
and poorly at that, but
you probably golf out there a lot.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's not as much as you would think.
Yeah. You have your own golf cart?
Which is cool. So you just back out of the garage and go. So
nice.
that makes it really nice, and it's just nice sometimes just to go out.
When you do that, do you start on one? Do you go to the clubhouse?
No, typically I live right on number 8. So I pull out of the garage. I'll drive out to the 150 mark, throw about 5 balls down.
Yeah.
Just hit them, go to the green, put them out, and then go tee off on 9. That way, if I'm only playing 9, I finish right in front of the house. And So no, I enjoy that. And like I said, sometimes I'll just go out and play 2 or 3 holes or chip and putt. And another thing sometimes I'll do is won't even play. I might hit a few shots, but I'll go back, in the woods, back where the par 5 is, and nobody's just setting the cart back there and chill out.
Sure.
It's nice and quiet, and the deer come out and just hang out.
And I would say, especially this time of year in the evenings, it's the play's slow.
Yeah, which I'm not going to have this luxury, much longer. But like Friday nights, if you're not going to the high school football game, no one's around. You've
forced yourself.
You're out there by yourself, which is fun.
I'm sure. Yeah. Whenever we were younger, it was a lot of it was a lot of fun out there.
Absolutely.
But we used to run around out there a good bit.
Absolutely, man.
I played golf a few weeks ago. September 8th. I played in a game out there.
All right.
Of course, in great shape.
I tell you, man, Terry is awesome.
Yeah,
he does.
he's good.
He doesn't have a huge budget to work on, but he treats that place like his own. They'll obviously lay him off in the winter, but you'll see him out there. It'll be 0 degrees.
Yeah.
And you'll wake up, look out the window, having your coffee, and you'll see Terry out there running around checking it out. I mean, he believe me, it's kind of, he's not doing it for the money. He loves that place.
He just loves that place. I could get back into it 9 holes at a time.
Well, I hope to get back into it at some point, man. That's a game I really enjoyed, and I just haven't played it in 10 years, man.
Yeah. Well, and you can't let your golf ruin your recreation, because what I found is, you don't have time to practice or play 2 or 3 times a week, especially as your kids get older.
Yeah, then stop. Don't even worry about your game.
No, just go out and have fun, enjoy the sunshine.
So exactly what we just talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, we're just come full circle. Yeah, exactly.
I always envied those guys though that could golf their whole life together. Certain sports you just don't get to play. The guys at the stockroom, my kitchen staff, they've been going out to Franklin Valley and hooping it up.
Yeah,
Franklin Valley put in all new courts and everything out there.
What?
A couple of years ago, they're pretty nice for outdoor. They're the best
Really?
around. Yeah,
I didn't know
and
they did that.
They have big games out there on the weekends.
Really?
Big games. Yeah. And so they've been trying to get me to come out, and I keep telling them, I'm coming.
Are you like, I don't want to go out there and cross it?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, listen, I'm 40. I'm going to embarrass you.
Yeah,
I
don't want breaking bicycles.
I need you next week.
Yeah,
But like that's a sport that I don't know if I'm still meant to go out and do that anymore.
Yeah.
JJ, do you still play with the kids when you're coaching basketball?
Oh, no. I want to because I am a competitive sumbitch. And I play with Mac Holmes, and Mac can flat play. I mean, if he doesn't shoot in the 70s, he's pissed. Yeah. And but I'll tell you, well, you played pretty good. Well, I didn't beat you.
Yeah. He's meaning basketball.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I'm going with that. Okay. Is so make no mistake, you're going to shoot 72, I'm going to shoot 92. But every time we tee it up, I'm trying to beat you. Believe me, I'm not out here for second place. You're either first or last. So, when I got into coaching, matter of fact, we got thrown out of the gym one day. Carl and I were down at a practice, and we were just out there dicking around, and I'm, out there, and Carl's trying to guard me, and I cross him over. And he literally falls and goes nosedives into the floor. Yeah. His shoulders coach is out. Put the ball on the rack. Yeah. You're done. But no, I tried that a couple of times and. And I can't remember which kid it was. But I probably wouldn't name it anyway. But, I was trying to guard him. Yeah. Literally, I'm into my 40s then. And he just kind of winked at me and said, bye, old man. And he was just by me before I'm like, you know what? Just, my mind still thinks it. My body just won't do it anymore.
I always say my brain will cash, write checks that my body can't cash.
Yeah. I don't have any interest in going and doing that.
Well, and Tate was laughing at me when he was training with Blaine a few months ago before season started. He's got a go with the parachutes that you wear while you're running 40s or whatever. Yeah. Well, what I found is Blaine will run harder if I'm racing him. If he think. So, I noticed he was
I saw you put that online, didn't you?
Yeah. So one of the times I just, he got down there and I just walked up beside him and got down in the 3-point and I could just see Tate shaking his head. Yeah. I got about 5 yards and I pulled a groin.
Oh.
Hal, and he said, why didn't you loosen up, man? What are you doing? So I
that's what you can't do.
That hurt, man.
That's what you can't do. Yeah. You can't go out at cold anymore.
Well, you get in the 40s and 50s, man. I'll tell you what, it takes a little longer to come back from those injuries too.
Yeah, now that's what I'm having. I don't hit it very far anymore. And when I was younger, I hit it a good ways. Now I didn't know where the hell it was going, and I still don't. But struggling now is I don't hit it very far, and I refuse to accept that. Okay, I'm 50. You don't hit it.
You'll probably start playing better. You'll probably quit trying to kill it.
Well, a guy that I used to play with on Sundays out of Franklin for years. I mean, he's dead and gone now. Bill Aldridge was the guy's name. He was like a surgeon, and he used the old Persimmon woods. We all had nice clubs. But he, buddy, right down the middle, 180, 200. Hit his second shot either on the green or very close chip on, one putt, get his par. I could never beat him.
All day long.
Ever. And he was steady Eddie, man. And, anymore, I'm like, okay, just focus on your strengths. You can't hit it out
You're
there.
you're not going to.
No,
You're on the downhill now.
But I'm trying to come to grips with that.
Well, just hit it straight. I mean, I think that you can't buy a golf game, right? Like you can't go out and buy the equipment. But man, I think as you become like an older player, if you can control the ball, I think you can go buy some clubs that maybe give you just a little bit more distance.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They've done several
lessons
studies.
help. I've had several good coaches and
Yeah.
lessons and things.
Didn't my father-in-law give you lessons?
No, but I asked about him because he's a really good golfer. I think he'd be a good teacher.
He just got done giving somebody lessons.
No, he's really good at. But I think in this day and age, you can't. As you get older, you also can't be able to move up to the appropriate tees. Too many guys will hang on, and try to play back on the whites and the blues. When look, man, you're 60. It's okay to go up there and play the golds.
Yeah.
Make it fun. I've been lucky enough to do some PGA events. Announce on the tee box.
Yeah.
And you watch those guys, and their swings are so smooth, and it looks like they're not going at it at all. And I mean, they just bomb it, man.
Yeah. Speaking of that, not to get sidetracked, tell us a little bit about that, man. The PGA events you were doing. How'd you get involved in that?
It was really cool. Well, the guys actually, when I stopped drinking, got involved with a men's golf ministry in his Grip Golf down in Nashville, Tennessee, and a guy he actually used to be an assistant pro up at Scioto. And he's the head pro down in Nashville now. And then it was the web.com. Now it's the Corn Ferry Tour, which is, it's kind of the minor league. But it's believe me, those guys can play.
Yeah,
actually, there's really no difference between them other than they're just trying to earn their tour cards.
Right.
And so they had a web.com event down there. And he's like, man, you need to come down and see me. We need to hook up. Come on down. Come on down to Nashville. You need to see me, Scott, and it'd be a great thing for you. So I'm like, okay. So at first he's like, we're going to hook you up. You can be a walking scorer. You just you're with the group, and, you're basically make sure the scores are correct. And then it goes back to the PGA truck, and they post it on the leaderboards and stuff. So initially I said I would do that. And then we were talking on the phone. I was like, man, radio background. I love to do some T-box stuff. He said, hell, I'll hook you up. And so come on down. So I went down and worked that event, 1 and 10T, and it went really, really good. And next thing I know, I got the same – no, it wasn't the same company, but it was someone associated with the promotions group that did Nashville was associated with somebody in Lexington, Kentucky for the Barbasol at the PGA event down there. So the next thing you know, I got hooked up there and did that tournament, and that went well. And then I got invited to go to the Greenbrier and do that event, and I just couldn't work it out into my schedule. But, man, it was really, really cool.
I bet it was.
Learned a lot. I mean, the inner workings of how it all goes. I mean, it's and some of those guys are great. Some of them are pricks. I mean, they are. But it was really, really cool. And it was odd because of the experience I got in Nashville really paid off in Lexington, because in Nashville it had rained down there. Well, it's called lift, clean, and place. And so this PGA rules official the guy was for lack of a better word, he was a dick. Yeah. But he was just, I don't think it was on purpose. I just think it was his first event. So, he had a lot of pressure
wanted to run it by
him.
the letter.
And I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
So he said, now look, he said, the rule is on lift, clean, and place. He said, you got to make sure these guys, the player and the caddy have to know it's lift, clean, and place. Here's the sheet. When you give them their scorecard, if they don't take that sheet, you literally have to touch them with it. And they knew, so you're not pissing them off when you're like, hey, they come up to the tent, you make sure everybody has the right scorecard, the caddy's got the right bib on, and hey guys,
very,
it's very
very
place
detailed.
today. Oh yeah, very.
You don't run
detailed.
events like that aren't detailed.
No, and then you literally touch them if they don't take the thing, and then you're watching the clock, on the back of the tee box, and if tee time's 8:40. You do not start until the stroke of 8:40. It doesn't matter if the group's gone. 8:40 is the tee time, and you don't start a second after. It doesn't matter if a player's not on there.
You're going.
Typically, someone else is in the tent with you. They'll radio to PGA control and say, "Look, so and so's not on the tee. We're going." And they'll work it out for you. But so that was a good experience, because when I got to the event in Lexington. the guy that the PGA rules official there was super cool. His name was I think Scribbles was his nickname. And so he come over and he's like, "Hey, lift, clean, in place today." And I'm like, "Yeah, I worked the." I said, "We did it now." He said, "Oh, you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's "You're on your own, man." I mean, he just basically walked off, just let me go, and it was nice. My wife got to sit in. She got to meet the players, and it was very, very neat. Matter of fact, I'm hoping if there's one next year, I've already talked to the committee chair. He's like, "We definitely want you to come back."
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's fun, man. And, you're not making anything.
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting rich.
There's not a lot of money in the entertainment business.
No.
But it is. We had an experience this weekend. Chad and I. We're starting to kind of get into a little bit of that. Uh-huh. And we did that War X obstacle course race this weekend, and we had one of the soldiers from Operation Enduring Warrior make a post about us on his Instagram account and was like thanking us.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, you're a Operation Enduring, like, this guy comes through like a Navy SEAL, and I was like, man, dude, you're the guy, like, not me.
The stuff they do.
Yeah, Chad went up and really watched it. I was down there with the DJ stuff, but it was pretty cool, wasn't it? I mean,
unreal.
And I mean, you just get to see that. I was thinking about that earlier. Whenever you came up here earlier, I was thinking, the radio business, or not the radio, just any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not necessarily the money so much as it is the experience.
Yeah.
Like,
you get to see a lot of cool
things. You get to see
man.
a lot of cool
I
stuff.
mean,
You've seen a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, meet a lot of cool
Yeah,
people.
you've probably met, whenever you were at the radio, you probably met all those guys that came in for the Apple Festival. You probably did shows with them. I mean,
and then concerts.
Comp tickets.
Hey, I might get to drink beer and among other things with Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Sure, yeah,
right.
We had the hell of a time. So you get to meet a lot of neat people.
You do.
And some of them remember you. Some it's weird. Drag racing. We went up and covered that a couple of times, and the next year when I went back, I had your cousin with me, and we walked into it was like media day. They were feeding us all, and the drivers were coming in, and we're sitting down getting ready to have our meal. And Jake Coughlin walks in. He's like, "What's up, JJ?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hell, he remembered me. I mean, Ron about fell out of his chair. He's like, holy hell, man.
Oh, he's easy to impress. Easy.
Like so needless to say, my head got about that big, too.
So. Did you hear the Mike Skinner episode?
No, but I was going to say, man, how do I follow, like, when you guys invited me to come on, I'm like, okay, you got Jimmy Dan, the Skinners. I'm like, how do you follow that up, man? I'm like, come on.
You know Jimmy Dan.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
You're doing fine, yeah. We're just kind of getting going. We brought on Tyler, Tyler Gillum, and he's killing it for us. So he does all this, So we had a lot of the equipment already.
Right.
I know you're an equipment guy. I follow you there, and you'll post a new mic or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's I just hit myself. It's techie, isn't it? Like there's some portion of you has to get techie in order to do it. And so I enjoy messing with this stuff, and I had it all, and Tyler had all that stuff.
Right.
So it was like, well, there's $10,000 that we just saved by coming together,
man.
And I mean, heck,
the technology's so cool what you can do. I mean, and that's what I've learned since I've been dabbling back in the radio again. Is just what you can do now, man. I mean, it's like the commercials you guys hear on the air here locally. That I do. Heck, you even message them like, "Damn, that sounds good."
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I did that in my closet.
Yeah.
At home. I mean, literally.
And there is a difference than just having some old studio microphone.
Yeah.
Versus having like your own,
absolutely.
Like I know at the beginning of this, I know JJ likes to sound a certain way.
Yeah.
And do you remember he sounded a little thin?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So I'll go over there and I'll crank on it, and there's something to be said for that production of a sound. And it's not that you're falsifying it.
No,
you're just enhancing
it. Yeah, right on.
Those good mics like that's a good mic. And all three of these are good mics.
I have a good broadcast mic at home, and then went up a guy that actually he's a professional voiceover guy, and I've been talking about you're never too old to get better at your craft. Taking some voice coaching lessons from him, then maybe start trying to do some more voiceover stuff. He's got this Sennheiser. I think
those are hot, dude.
Dude, I bet that thing's a $10,000 mic, and I mean you sound like God talking into that thing. It's
probably a $2,000 mic.
Oh, it's a beautiful piece of equipment.
Yeah, man. Those. I don't know in that world. I know in this. This is all what I used live whenever I was playing.
Right.
So I mean, this is real durable stuff, but I'm not getting that crunchy crispy, good studio mixing sound. But these are good mics.
Yeah, I listened to like some of the podcast or the show with Jimmy Dan, and I thought the audio was great.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and that's where that USB and digital sound has come into play,
right?
Versus that old analog,
right?
You know, we use it a lot as far as our. Playing different, like let's say the Bengals are on or something,
right.
and you play the radio to hear the broadcast.
Right.
You know what I've noticed with that analog is it's up and down based on who's doing what. Some of it might be high, some of it might be low. Where that digital stuff, it seems to just stay really pleasant to hear.
Yeah, and I think the digital you're going to see, like as far as the radio broadcast, it's go all
yeah,
go
and
to
they
digital
can
signal.
Yeah, they can.
I think you're going to see that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they said we may have talked about it last time. That guy in California said that there was going to make their last car, or they would be done making gas automobiles in 10 years.
Wow.
They said, we'll see. That's unbelievable.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Hey, Tyler, can you give me another timeout on the floor?
Well, I'd say we'll go ahead and wrap it up,
all
man.
Right,
that's probably enough, ain't it? Yep, that's plenty,
right,
man. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
JJ,
I really
thanks
enjoyed
for
it, man.
Yeah, we'll get you on here again, man.
Yeah, I'd love to, man.
I'm sorry for the short notice.
No worries, man. Hey, you got me. The wife's got the house tour part right now. We got like a remodel thing, so you got me out of it, man.
We typically we shoot twice a week, so we'll get you back on here again.
Absolutely, man. Love to do it, man. And let me know how this the Zero and the NA work out, man.
I can tell you where they're going to be.
Yeah,
they're going to be at the stock room.
All right, man. I'll come down and have a Main Street Monster and a.
Well, no, we're done with all that. We've totally switched all the menu now.
Okay, I know you got the smash burger.
During COVID, we put in a new kitchen.
Okay,
so we've got all new fresh food menus.
Come down and watch some basketball.
Yeah.
Their wings are really good, and the burgers are great.
Yep. So stop in and get you an NA. I'll get that one. I'd like to have these. I'm gonna buy some of these for the house.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, JJ, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having
me.
Really
enjoyed it, dude.
Awesome. Enjoyed it.
See you again soon.
See ya.